you know what I mean, cohorts into doing some shit that she ain't got no business doing.
Some
And
ill-advised
and
shit, huh? Some
if you listen,
ill-advised shit.
right, and you know the bride, and you know the bride, she got a history with fucking around with niggas that she's just a tramp, really. You know what I mean? She's a tramp, bro. She was fucking around with the one nigga down there in San Francisco. Man, you can catch her with Montel Williams, nigga. Montel, light skinned nigga with the bald head, he had two bitches on his motherfucking hands, nigga. She was one of them, and there was another bitch. You know what I mean? So it's like, come on, man. I mean, I don't trust bitches that ain't got no babies, man. You know what I mean? That means she's been getting fat and ugly.
Oh, oh, oh. How can you have a stance on abortion if you ain't got no goddamn kids? Got to be more careful. Swing Whistle, what up, brother?
What's happening there?
Oh man, what up? What up, man? Election time, I heard through the grapevine, you know?
Yes, sir. This is dope.
Yes, sir. Now we just chopping it up, man. At least, because everybody can't understand the English that they try to speak when it comes to this election. So we try to branch out and get a little alternative outlet so you can hear some different voices. They definitely ain't gonna have us on goddamn CNN talking, so at least we could get our voice across right here. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Def Chef, what up, brother? Hey,
What's
Def Chef
good?
brought the crew. Def Chef ain't playing, boy.
It's the maniac.
What's up? Man,
It
we
amazes me
gotta
how
we
many
gotta get some minds in here, bro. We
it's
gotta we
amazing me
gotta
how
get
many
some
people
competent
ain't voting.
individuals.
Oh, how many people ain't voted?
Yeah. Who just won't vote. They don't want to vote.
I mean, let's talk about it. That's something that we need to talk about. Why ain't people voting? It's
I
this
think
lesser
it's
two
crazy
evil shit for
because
me. I don't believe in the lesser two evil shit. I think that's a cop out.
well my thing is my great grandparents fought to vote. You know what I'm saying? Damn near
Got
lost
you.
their life trying to vote. And these cats is like, I ain't voting. It ain't gonna help. I'm like, you're crazy. Every vote counts.
Right, right.
What's good with you, Def Chef?
Oh man, chilling,
Def Chef, man.
rolling up
Hey,
lumpia, trying to get the conversation started.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
See, I be wanting to talk about this stuff where we gotta be constructive. Everybody wanna always do it on like you know, the war panels, like a Facebook, where the whole intent is a negative outcome. Nah, we can talk about this stuff with intention behind it, with some positive intention. Because one thing about it, no matter what happens, we gonna have to be here with each other. We all we got.
Facts.
That's right. That's right. What up, my boy? Cy in the building, my boy. What up,
Yo, yo,
Fly
man?
side.
what's
Hey,
going
see,
on,
Chef,
guys?
see, Def
Fly
Chef. I can't do
side.
this with Def Chef. Def Chef be bringing them out, brother. What?
Hey, man,
Man, it's a
I
good
seen
day.
the call to action and said hello.
It's election time, so this is the
Yeah,
stage right here where we can talk in our English. I mean, they ain't gonna let none of us say nothing on Fox or nothing like that. So at least we can
Oh
hear the
no.
voice right here. You know what I'm saying?
Cause
yeah.
you guys is gonna get on Fox and go off script. You gonna want them to do something for blacks and all that. We can't have you niggas up on Fox, nigga, trying to hold people accountable. Nah,
Hey, we want to talk about reparations. We can't go on Fox.
yeah, they ain't put you on there. You guys want to
My
talk about?
motherfucking 40 acres, nigga.
I need reparations, bro. I didn't hear nobody talking about that this election. That's why I didn't vote, brother. I'm sorry. Now you guys can
Mm.
grill me and all of that. That's what
Are
I'm
you
here
one of
for.
them? You one of them?
Well, I didn't hear nobody. They say go for whoever you feel that serve your needs. Neither
Right.
one of them was serving my needs.
Uh,
Nobody talked about reparations. It's a joke, you know, when we talk about that. You said your grandparents fought for the right to vote. My grandparents built this shit for free,
yeah,
you know. So those are just some issues that I felt, you know, that was weighing real heavy on my heart. That's all. But
yeah.
nah, I need the grill. You need to grill each other. You know, shame, blame, and explain. You know, let's do it. I'm here for it.
I'm just in a space right now where I'm just looking at. Hey man, start reading the dictionary, man. Start reading it. Read it. You don't look like you reading it. I'm in a space right now where uh I love the rhetoric that black women are spewing at black men.
Oh, wait.
I'm
Talk
not
about
mad
Talk
at that.
about it.
fly side coming in hot.
I'm not mad at that. I'm like, ooh, she said, what'd she say? You black men are upset at your mothers. I was like, huh?
What?
Yeah, cause you can't be having this rhetoric saying, oh, I don't want no woman running no presidency, but you raising a household with a woman.
Right. True that.
I'm like,
True that.
ooh,
So it couldn't
shit.
be that woman wasn't qualified. It got to be that we got some type of mother issues.
Yeah, mother issues. That's what they would. That's what I was like. Man, there got to be some. Your mother did you wrong, or a bitch you used to fuck with did you wrong, or something. Cause
Mm.
nigga, your energy towards this one, he was like, man, I'm not voting for that black bitch. I'm like, damn. Well, I mean, golly, what you? I mean, I get you upset or you don't align with her policies, but now she's a black bitch. Shit. I mean,
Mm.
man, listen, man. I grew up in a female household, total female, black women ran household. It wasn't a lot of men around. We figured it out.
Fact.
You know what I'm saying? I
Right.
still was able to stand on my 10 toes on man shit because women taught me how to be a man. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have the luxury of having men teaching me how to be a man, but women that knew about how a man is supposed to stand up was like, yo, this is how you supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? They taught me to cook, huh?
That's right.
Yeah,
48. What up, brother?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Hey, it's election time, man. It's election time.
Let's go.
yeah.
Let's go.
What
Let's
up?
go,
What
Kamala.
up, Lee Bruce? What up, brother?
What's happening? What's
Hey,
happening,
long
y'all?
time no see. Hey, see,
What's good?
Def Chef, man.
What
You
it
can't
do
be
like?
doing this, Def Chef, man.
Hey,
Come
we
on,
got
Man, what is?
man.
I was
listen,
like,
bro.
what
This
is
is the
this?
Legion of
Who
Doom.
Come
recently
on,
just got
man. I'm
this?
it's
Man,
like a
we got the
reunion up in
Legion of
this
Doom in
motherfucker.
this bitch, bro. Real thinkers.
Come
Yeah,
on.
Like,
that's what you said, though. That's what you said.
Real thinkers. Hey, and for the audience, for those who ain't on this panel, now you about to really hear some logic. These is niggas who really chop it and pop it. So here's your chance to learn something.
Yeah,
Yes.
100%.
indeed.
And none of us are right, and none of us are wrong. How about that?
Well, looking at the screen, it looks like it's still early, but so far it's a landslide, you know, 27 to 105. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Donald Trump.
what states though?
Yeah, they ain't even supposed.
Because if you know what I mean, like we talking about Vermont and
He got Mississippi. He got
who like Indiana, like what? Because
Yeah,
he
yeah.
got
we
Mississippi.
already know we got a long way to go. Texas, Florida, California. There's some real crucial states out there, man.
Even show you too.
Right.
Georgia.
Georgia's one of the crucial ones.
Yeah, here.
Hell
Put it
yeah.
right.
Georgia,
Put it on the
crucial.
table.
Of course, New York, because New York City.
He definitely gonna get Arizona.
What I mean, if you a Trump fan and you up, you know, you got more than more than a third of the what you need, you got to be feeling good right now. Because if it was the other way around, and we could talk about all those other states that aren't on here, I mean, I don't think I need to go on.
Well,
It's looking bad for Kamala right now. I haven't even paid attention to the polls.
Did
Well,
anybody vote today?
it's early.
it might.
It's early.
Like
It's early.
This what I'm saying. Like what states are in?
Right. That's what
So
I feel like.
what about all the southern states? Like
Man,
we know that's gonna be huge. That in the Midwest.
Right.
Somebody said Trump got Florida and Georgia.
Okay.
He's
Pretty
leaving
much.
Florida or Georgia, or he already won them states.
I think they're saying he won it.
Well, if they gave him the points, he had to win it, right?
Man,
They're not
bro,
giving you the points off the partial.
No, bro. I would think so, but I don't be knowing, bro.
Confirmed states. The points are the ones that are confirmed.
Exactly.
There's none confirmed right now because they got to go behind Pacific time. Everything has to go after Pacific time.
But
The
if the
rate-
majority of the votes in,
Votes by the ratio confirmed.
yeah. So they might not be done counting, but
Eastern time, right? If it's 5 o'clock, 5 o'clock over here and it's 8 o'clock over there, then they're getting their votes in right now.
Right.
Everybody's finishing.
Yeah, I
You know what I'm
think
saying?
those over here at 7, right?
Yeah, I think so.
They
But I
close.
seen a line at Garfield just a minute ago. They
Yeah.
trying to get their votes in right now.
oh wow.
Mhm.
So they still got 2 more hours over here to get them in.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a long night.
man, man.
Hey,
It's gonna be
why blame it on the fact that when Chef called me, he made a great, the prediction of where the blame is gonna go. Let's say if she takes the L, hypothetically speaking,
Yeah,
if they win and it wasn't the black man, if she loses, it was the black man. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, see, Chef did it again, man. Proving
Black-
the play in the
look.
building, man. What up, brother?
Oh, pro.
Man, see?
Oh man,
It was this easy, Chef.
West
Come
Coast
on now.
All-Stars in this bitch.
This is the
Hey,
all-star
man.
team.
How did you guys find this app? What the app is
Yeah,
this,
I'm like,
man?
I was like, what
With
is
the
this?
flag rolling? What kind of app is this, man?
That's these media guys, man.
Yeah, nah, hey, I'm gonna get you on that. Don't worry about it. I got you.
To my headphones. Huh?
I'm gonna have
Hey,
proof of the
somebody
play
need
on
to-
steroids. Don't worry,
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I need a producer. Let me know what's happening. You know what I mean?
man.
Right.
Let me know
Let's
what
link
time
up.
it is. You know?
We got, and you see how quick this was. This should have happened years ago, but hey, we here now.
Oh yeah,
We
fucking
definitely
right.
here. What's going on with the fellas, man? How you?
Man, doing
What's
good.
happening?
Miss Shannon.
Well, we
got
figured-
all
we
kinds of
figured,
all-stars off in here.
I'm nervous.
Before
We
get
figured
caught
they
up
ain't
in
gonna
these
have none of
politics.
us on Fox or CNN talking, so our word is important. So we here. Let's go.
Hey,
I'm
I
before-
nervous.
just don't want you guys
Look,
to unfriend me or don't talk to me because of what I voted for. Okay, we
Exactly.
don't
Nah.
vote. I mean, really.
Hey
I don't
man,
want
Don't tell
you
us.
mad at me.
I'm not mad at anybody how they choose to vote. I just want them to vote.
Man.
That's
Go ahead and
my
vote,
thing
man.
right there.
you going
That's-
back to how it's supposed to be. You stick
Yeah.
to the script. Okay.
Man, I'm telling you, man,
we
just
need
vote.
we need
You're
to start.
sticking to the
We
script.
need to start sticking to a script somewhere around this joint.
Look, because the thing is, I'm seeing a lot of people saying, "Hey, I'm not going to vote," but when you look at the poll, the voting thing, it's a whole bunch of different stuff that people need to vote about. It
That's a
ain't just the
fact.
president. President's only one spot.
Man,
Right.
It's a
man,
whole
That's a
bunch of
fact.
different things that people need to vote about.
Now you
the
right.
local
Especially
elections
local.
are the most
Yeah.
crucial elections we can do.
Judges
Yeah,
and everything. I saw judges on there and everything, buddy. You know.
yeah.
Senators,
Levies
governor.
I bet,
and
I bet you, I bet you,
Yeah.
I bet you everybody did any mighty mo on that. They were just voting on Trump or Camilla. So I think people don't worry about our local elections more than we should be, and that's why we get,
100%.
we got to stress the fact once we start talking about presidency. But I mean, I just feel like
100%.
it's a lot of people around here, that all of a sudden have political views that never even thought about the election in our local state. So, for me personally, I think a lot of people are trying to unfriend people for a vote, and we still got to live amongst each other. And that's the
Yeah.
craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. So now
Right.
Oh yeah.
we drawing a line in the sand. Now we can't live together no more. Either we can't live amongst each other because I voted one way or another. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. They
Right.
separate.
I can't lie, man. I can't really get with Caster's voting to go backwards. You know what I'm saying? That shit that he's talking about doing, I can't get with that. And
Yeah.
I can't understand how
Separation.
any person
Oh,
of
you
color
okay?
could sit up there and listen to
Okay.
this dude speak and even think that's a good idea, regardless of who the other
Okay.
candidate is. And then if you're voting for anybody other than these two, you might as well not vote because the vote's not gonna fucking count.
Yeah. I got a partner
So
said he voted for Cornel West. I'm like, man,
I
I
mean,
didn't even know
I would
Cornel
love
West was
to.
on the.
I
I didn't
wanted
even
to
know he
vote
was
for
on the
him so
ballot.
bad, but he's not up there. He's not gonna win. It's pointless.
Yeah, it's
It's
pointless.
a wasted vote. A
Yeah,
wasted vote.
I didn't even know he was on the ballot till I looked at it. I'm like, Cornel West is running.
We
So
we
do
The
you
literally
still
hell?
vote
voted.
anyway?
Third party. People were trying to get the third party to get 5% or something
Yeah.
like that.
So is the new code gonna be just vote anyway, even though you're totally not
Well, no,
satisfied
listen.
with both of the
That
candidates?
used
These
to
niggas is trolling, man.
it
That's
used
a
to
troll.
it used to be that way. Look, here's what done happened. What done happened on social media is everybody wants to control more than one vote. See,
Right.
back in the day, our dads would have never been sitting around trying to control each other's vote. They gonna vote the way that they vote, and they just gonna stand on that. But now
Yeah.
what happens is I want your vote. And whatever I need to do to get it is what I'm gonna do. Nigga, our friendship is on the line. You better vote this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dead ass serious. Like, hold up, man. We're not doing that around these parts, man. That's what you're doing there. You can stay over here.
Man,
Go
they
over that way.
trolling, man. They trolling and controlling.
Got to be more careful.
Trolling and controlling.
I'm just feeling.
Don't hurt them.
Them niggas is like, yeah, I'm voting for Robert Robert Kennedy, but he already supporting Trump. So how you voting for him?
Man,
You basically voting for Trump is what you
that
say.
project 2025, man, that shit's crazy.
This is what I'm doing for the culture.
Election. Okay,
Cause
this
this shit
When I
is
told niggas read Project 2025, boy, you would have thought I told niggas give me a love.
Okay, so we agree that we don't like both of the candidates. It's the best of both evils, or whatever they say. That
Yeah.
lesser of two
Man, hold
evils,
on,
or however they
stop.
put
Wait,
it.
slow
Right?
down.
Hey,
When was the last time you liked the presidential candidate? Any of you niggas?
Ooh,
Listen,
that's
bro.
a great question.
Barack Obama.
Barack Obama.
And how long ago
I ain't
was
gonna
that?
lie to you.
President,
How
I
old
was
was you when
excited
that
about.
happened?
That was the last.
Huh?
That was the only
How old
one
was
I
That
was
was
you when that
excited.
2008, nigga. That was like 15,
Yeah,
Hey,
17
man,
years
well,
ago.
my
years
auntie,
was
she
you
was
more?
88
Was you
years
more?
old.
But was you more excited about his policy, or was you more excited about there being a black president?
Man,
Even a
I was
black
More
excited
president.
about it
excited
being
about
a
him being a
black man.
black
Black
president. I
president.
ain't gonna lie.
Not even going to lie.
But listening to
Black
my
president.
auntie, who
Niggas
was
started out on
88 years
C-SPAN.
old, yell about, oh, Baracko. Man, she didn't even call him Barack. She said,
Yeah.
man, Baracko's finna be a president. I was like, yeah, auntie, it's lit. Yeah.
My granny was still alive. She was hella excited.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I get that. I'm not, man, listen, I'm not mad at, hey, his policies didn't all hit the mark. Nigga, it was a black man. That was the president, nigga.
Now that I look back,
The hell?
and that was my reason for it. But then I look back at it, man. He was one of the smoothest talking presidents we had. He can articulate.
I
Man, he
mean,
was the most articulate cat ever that I ever seen.
that I've
Hey.
ever heard, presidential or
up
not.
there.
You
a
know.
pimp in
And
the
I've
pulpit.
seen a lot of presidential candidates from Ross Perot to all of them.
Yeah,
Right?
man, George
They-
Bush,
they-
the first
they
and the
couldn't hold
second.
Michael Dukakis.
A pimp in the
Ronald
pulpit.
Reagan.
when he was
I
articulate.
remember Ronald Reagan's monkey ass back in the day.
Yeah.
Reagan,
That's right.
Reaganomics.
Hey, Barack is a pimp.
Yeah,
And
something
I
like
still,
Well, he still
even with
sounded
what
like
he
it, though.
did, I still fuck with him.
Yep.
Because he's a black man. Just like you. All you niggas can do some wrong shit because all of y'all done did some wrong shit. But guess what? I still fuck with y'all.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, look at
I
him.
still fuck with y'all.
Yep. Got a point.
Right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm like, yeah, he did some wrong shit, but he all right with me.
I ain't never been one of them cats that said that Barack didn't do nothing for me. I
Me
never
neither.
feel that way.
Me neither.
I mean, what did he do? What did he? I mean, we
What
hear the
network
talk
is
about
this on,
this.
bro?
What did he do?
I mean, it's a whole lot of people that didn't have health care that got
Is
health
this the
care.
Dr. Hood network?
I got you.
That's
I
one.
got health care because of Barack. Shit.
He got handed a deficit by Bush that he dug us out of, only to get buried again in it after this nigga Trump got in office. So you know, it took 8 years for that guy to get us dig that
Shit.
hole. I mean, to get us out
Obama
of
gave
that.
us Obama phones. He had a whole phone named after him. Shit.
Yeah,
Man, I got Obamacare, my nigga.
yeah.
I got my teeth fixed on Obamacare.
I mean,
Nigga,
But did they give you the
I'm not, hey,
bullshit?
I'm never shutting that down.
senior citizens get taken care
No,
of
no, no,
all
no,
right.
no, 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 no. Put an actual
Or
code
did
on.
they give you the backdoor service though? Because I heard
You
like that
do get
Obamacare was
backdoor
giving
service.
backdoor service.
Before that, it wasn't no service.
I
Right,
didn't.
got
Yeah,
you.
I didn't get nothing before him. Yeah,
So
I
that
remember.
made an impact.
Our state is a little different. We spoiled up here. Like,
Yeah,
I
we
don't know.
are.
I've been to other places and they don't got this shit that we got.
Man, you try to get an EBT card in other places.
Yeah, they don't got it.
Don't get an EBT card in another place. Boy, you'll be.
You niggas who get EBT, man, you better have that card on you when you go to Oakland and LA.
Yeah, I'm gonna tap back in with y'all. I gotta take my son to football practice. I'm gonna
Yes,
tap
sir.
back in
Man,
with
good to
y'all.
see you, brother.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know it. I ain't going nowhere. I'm gonna tap back in with y'all.
Yes, sir.
We finna eat dinner. I'm gonna tap back in too when it's about 9 o'clock.
Slow down, man.
Oh yeah. It's gonna get live. It's gonna get live. Them
Yes,
numbers
sir.
gonna
'Cause
change.
when
It's
them
gonna get
numbers
real
change,
live.
yeah, tap in when these numbers get posted.
Hell yeah.
All right, man. It's been a pleasure, brothers. I'll see y'all in a minute.
You
Yeah,
already know.
thanks for sliding.
100.
Let me see. Double tap that screen. Hit that like button. You know how we do.
You didn't put this on Buck City Kennels?
It's on Buck City Reloaded and Dr. Hood.
Oh, okay.
We streaming on both platforms right now. You know, the election. It's about to go down. We're gonna have a new president, and I'm not gonna lose no friends behind this one.
Why? What you mean? This is the most important election ever. We supposed to fall out over this.
Yeah, I mean, well, really, the Obama. I lost friends behind the Obama election. I did. I did. And I noticed that tension. Like, once we got that president, I mean, of course, I was probably still borderline living, you know, the way I probably shouldn't live, but I felt the tension from law enforcement. Like, after that, I felt like they really had to, like, put us in our place or some shit. Like, they made a special effort.
Was that with law enforcement?
I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you. Let me see. They got let me see if I can get Trump up here. It's all fair game. Hey, double tap the screen. Double tap the screen. What up? Broken DDoS. What up with you? Melee in the building. Alan Lucas in the building. Salute everybody in the building. Smash that like button. Double tap that screen. Let me see. Yeah, nah, Chef. Hey, that was good, man. You had the proof in the play. My guy, Cy, Breon. Yeah.
Yeah, they go.
Ray.
They go.
Hey.
I don't know how long.
Hey, I'm glad. Hey, one thing about it, I'm glad I kept building this platform here, though, you know, because it's time. It's time for action.
You know, even that they're coming back in. People that left because they were traitors are coming back in. Everybody's coming back in. And it's at a level that we've never seen before. Criminals off the streets. And you know, other countries from where they're coming are now setting records, good records for them, where crime is down 70 and 75% because they're taking the criminals off the street. They're emptying their jails into our country. And they're not finished yet. I'm amazed. I thought they would have done it by now, but if you take a look at Venezuela, their crime is way, way, way down. Then you go to Caracas and you wouldn't recognize it. You can actually walk the streets without being shot or killed or mugged. It's becoming a safe city because they've taken all their criminals, most of them, the rest are coming. They're all coming. They've taken their drug dealers and they've put them into the United States of America. Thank you very much, Kamala. Appreciate it. But she continues and she will continue this misery, and her policies have caused such harm and such pain. And the three great people up here with me are going to just discuss that for a little while about what's happened to them, how their lives have been shattered. I'd like to begin with the story of one mother whose life Kamala has utterly destroyed this life. And we're talking about thousands of people in very similar situations every day under Kamala, open border policies. And if you remember, Joe Biden appointed her as the border czar. She doesn't want to use that term, but let's say we'll just use a different term. She was responsible for the borders, totally responsible. She never made one call to Border Patrol. 2 weeks ago, the Border Patrol endorsed me with the most beautiful endorsement I think I've ever gotten. And in all fairness, they've endorsed me every single year, but they've endorsed me again, and they endorsing me, saying I was the best president we've ever had and the best president by far on the border. They said that, and this is not easy for them to say, they said that she was easily the worst person ever to work with them on the border, most incompetent, the least caring. Think of it. Not one call in almost 4 years was made to Border Patrol. Like, how are we doing? I used to call all the time. I'd say, how are we doing, fellas? How's it going? Is it going well? And they're great people, men and women, Border Patrol, great people. They want to do their job. She didn't call them once. She released the two men who murdered this woman's very precious daughter. Everything you need to know about what happened and the character of Kamala Harris, you'll know from just watching this video. We had it done yesterday. It's very, very quick, very easy to do, but it was very heartbreaking. We showed it in a room full of people and everybody was crying. Some pretty tough people were crying. Please take a look.
Sunday night, I asked her to not stay up super late because of her coming to work with me in the morning first to do her summer school. She said, okay. I told her good night and I love you. I went to bed, not realizing that that was going to be the last time I saw her.
We're best friends. Yeah. We're going shaking again.
I woke up to notice she wasn't in her bed. I'm in my heart trying not to lose my mind because I don't know where she is. I finally remembered her phone had a location on, and her phone was pinging just 2 minutes down the road, right behind the skate park. I start driving to the direction the phone was being pinged at, and I see a couple cop cars with lights on. I see yellow tape, and immediately my heart drops and sinks to the bottom of my stomach. My daughter's hands and ankles were both bound. She was strangled to death, left with no pants. And I know in my heart, she fought incredibly hard. She was not going down without a fight.
We begin with two men we're learning are charged with capital murder tonight, accused of killing a 12-year-old girl.
Police say these men strangled her before dumping her into that creek. Both men were in the country illegally.
Apprehended, then released by Border Patrol less than 3 weeks before Jocelyn's death. The men accused of killing Jocelyn Nungare are affiliated with the gang known for brutal violence.
Kamala Harris was in charge of immigration in our borders. If we had better border policies and not open borders and not these catch and release policies, I truly believe this all could have been prevented. Under her being vice president of this country, my daughter's life was ripped away from her. She had her entire life ahead of her.
Happy birthday, dear Jocelyn.
My daughter is 6 feet in the ground based off of policies that she allowed to keep. Kamala Harris did have one job, and she not only failed, not me, she failed my daughter. She failed Jocelyn.
Hey, everybody hit the
She was
like
on
button,
12.
double tap the screen. The panel will be
President
back
Trump
shortly.
reached out, gave me his
We are gonna
sincerest
break this
condolences
down.
as not a former president, but just as a father, someone who cares. I believe Donald Trump needs to be back in office. I can at least know that my next child will be safe in this country.
Thank you very much. So I know we talk about inflation and the economy, but to me, there's nothing more important than the fabric of our country being destroyed by people placed there, violently placed there, as far as I'm concerned, foolishly, stupidly placed there. I think what's happening on the border is the single biggest issue, and I'm seeing it more and more when I speak. I see it more. Inflation's terrible. It's hurting our country. It's just decimating our seniors. That's why I talk about Social Security, no tax for our seniors on Social Security, because they've been decimated by inflation. But what Kamala did to Jocelyn and her family is the most heartless and cold-blooded betrayal imaginable. Thousands of cases just like that, thousands. In throwing open the border, think of it, open borders, they come in from parts unknown. People have no idea who they are, where they're from, anything about them. They know nothing. They just walk into our country. And as soon as I heard they were doing that, I said, well, I know these countries. I know every one of the leaders of all these different countries. They're very smart. They're very sharp. They're very streetwise. I said, I know what they're going to do. They're going to open up their jails and just dump them into the United States. And that's what happened. They opened up their jails. And some of the most ruthless killers in the world are now roaming our fields and our streets all over the United States. I knew that was going to happen. And I would do the same thing if I were running one of those many countries that we're talking about, and not just the 3 or 4 that we constantly mention that are near us, all over South America, all over the Middle East, all over Asia, all over Europe, all over Africa. Tremendous numbers of people are coming out of Africa, and they're coming from all over the world. They're dumping them at our border, pushing them across the line, and say, don't ever come back. If you come back, we're going to kill you. And we're stuck with them. But we're not going to be stuck with them for long. So Kamala violated her oath. She desecrated our laws, and she got innocent girls like Jocelyn tortured and killed. Anyone who knowingly sets loose these monsters into our country has absolutely no right to be running for office, let alone the office of president. No right. So here today is another great person, an American mom, Tammy Nobles. 2 years ago, Tammy's 20-year-old daughter, Kayla Hamilton, who had an autism diagnosis, was found raped, tied up and strangled to death with a telephone cord in her home. Kayla's murderer was an illegal alien, MS-13 gang member, among the most vicious gangs anywhere in the world. I took him out by the thousands, thanks to ICE. We're going to protect ICE. Kamala wanted to defund ICE. We didn't have ICE. We'd never get anybody out. They're tough and they're smart and they love our country. But an MS-13 gang member who was apprehended by Border Patrol, but under the policy of our border czar, Kamala, he was released into the United States to kill. Tammy, please come up and say a few words, please. Thank you. Please.
I just wanted to say that Homeland Security did not do their job. Health and Human Services did not do their job. The Biden-Harris administration did not do their job. If they would have done their job, made that one phone call to El Salvador, my daughter would still be alive today. Kayla was a very beautiful young lady inside and out. She was independent, learning to become independent. She had 2 jobs. She overcame obstacles dealing, with autism and was able to find a job that she loved. She loved animals, especially her cat Oreo, and she cared about the homeless. She loved God and she loved going to church. And her life was just ripped from her 3 days after she celebrated her 20th birthday. Thank you for having me here today.
Thank you, Tammy. And we will not forget Kayla. And she's looking down. She's very proud of Mom. Kamala's cruel and immoral actions on our border are actually disqualifying, in my opinion. She's unfit. She's an unfit person. And she knows this is going on. She never called anybody, including the 13 soldiers that were so needlessly killed in Afghanistan with that horrible moment in time where our country was just lost all respect from the whole world when they saw that. That's one of the reasons that Putin went in. He would have never gone in, ever. He wouldn't have gone in. If I were president, he would have never gone in. I ended his pipeline in Europe, no problem. And what happened? Biden comes in, he proves it right away, but he kills the Keystone Pipeline. Putin never would have come in. And he didn't, by the way, for 4 years. There was never a threat that he was going to do that. But he saw weakness, and I think a lot of it was seen in that horrible period of time. She is also aiding and abetting the cartels, allowing vast quantities of deadly drugs to pour unchecked into our country. And remember this, they now have an app. You call the app and you bring whatever you want, you bring them over, they'll tell you exactly. Can you believe it? They have an app. And they have airplanes, big, beautiful Boeing airplanes flying back and forth over our border. They were saying, where are those planes coming from? Where are they going? They were loaded up with migrants. They're dropping them out in the Midwest. They're dropping them all over the place. And I will tell you, if you look at Aurora in Colorado or in Springfield in Ohio, they dropped 32,000 illegal aliens. They tried to give them legal terminology, but it's not. Illegal aliens, 32,000 into a 50,000 person town, beautiful town, no problems. And now they don't know what to do. And they want to be nice, and the mayor wants to be nice. His big thing is to get interpreters because they don't speak English. It's very hard to get interpreters. And he's trying to get interpreters. But in the meantime, they're taking up the hospital. So when people from Springfield would routinely be able to check with a doctor, go to a hospital, they're unable to get in, they're packed. The whole town has changed. And this is happening all over our country. Aurora probably is an even worse situation because you have the meanest, worst gang from Venezuela in the world, probably maybe as bad or worse than MS-13. And they've literally taken over the town. They've taken over large sections of the town. They've gone into the real estate business. They've taken over apartment complex. They took over a number of complexes where the people are paying them rent. They've become the landlord. Isn't that nice? And they're rough, tough people, and they have the latest weapons. They have military quality weapons, and everyone's saying, where did they get them? Got to get them out of here. We're going to get them out fast. We're going to get them out fast. So today, I'm announcing that for the first time under my administration, we will be seizing the assets of the criminal gangs and drug cartels. And we will use those assets to create a compensation fund to provide restitution for the victims of migrant crime, and the government will help in the restoration. The government will help in the restitution, but something has to be done, and we're gonna get it done. Kamala has also caused untold misery through her destruction of our economy. Our economy is not, this is just, it's like a fake economy. Some of the best people on Wall Street are saying the economy is only good because they think, I don't want to say this because other people have said it. That's not me saying it, but they think Trump is going to get elected. That's the only reason our economy is good. That's the only reason the stock market is up. Scott is here, I think, someplace, and he's one of the most respected people on Wall Street. He's actually made a very big point of it, that the stock market is only doing well because of the fact that they think Trump is going to win the election. So we'll see. But Kamala cast the deciding votes that caused the worst inflation in our lifetime, maybe the worst inflation we've ever had, because I don't think I know for a fact they're not adding all of the numbers. If they did, I think it's the worst inflation probably in the lifetime of the country. And it's costing typical American families over $30,000. Nearly half of Americans now say they're broke. Think of that. Half of Americans are saying they're broke. They have no money. 2/3 say they're living from paycheck to paycheck, and that's a record. We've never had that to that extent. We've never, ever had that. Millions of Americans are lying awake at night, worried about how they'll pay their bills because Kamala wrecked their family finances, and she's done that. She's done nothing good. They have done nothing good. And I speak of Kamala, but it's partially Joe, but Joe's out of it. Joe's sort of out of it. He's been out of it for a long time. Now she wants to raise taxes for the typical family by $3,000 a year. She's got no empathy for the hardworking Americans whose dreams she's killed, and said recently that there is not one thing that she would do differently from Biden. That's only because she choked. I'm sure she could have come up with a couple of things if she really thought about it, because there's been so much destruction caused by the Biden administration. One of the things that people don't talk about, and the news never talks about, they don't talk about, as an example, Afghanistan, but this is something that's incredible, because when you think of the numbers, 325,000 children are missing, dead, sex slaves or slaves. 325,000 125,000 children who came in through the open border are now missing. Many of them are dead, and nobody talks about it. I said, this must be a mistake. This can't be possible. When I read it, I said, this can't be. You're talking about take your largest stadium and fill it up many times. That's what the kind of numbers are. Here today is Michael Copy, a small business owner who runs a dry cleaner and is struggling to get by because of what Kamala has done to his business. They've destroyed small businesses in this country. Michael, please.
I just want to say thank you, Mr. President, for affording me the opportunity and the high honor of joining you here today and sharing my small business story with you folks and the American people. So it's a chain of eco-friendly dry cleaners throughout the Tri-County here in West Palm. And it seems not too long ago, just a few years, the customer and us, the small business owner, we were able to keep up with inflation. There were resources available to us for expansion, or if you had a bad month, you know, if there was something you needed to make up for, it seemed like the support was there. And now, just a few short years later, it seems like all of those resources have dried up. The support's no longer there. We had an expansion plan about 6 years ago that we had to pause because we have to wait for our customers now to catch up with the inflation, the supply chain issues still, because we as a small business, we can't double our price points, although the cost of doing business now is 2, 3, or 4 times what it was just a few years ago. So we've had to get creative. Our industry, probably 30% in the dry cleaning industry, never survived COVID. And just recently this summer, I was contacted, my wife and I, by another local dry cleaner here in West Palm. They were asking advice. So husband and wife been there for about 35 years. Their lease was up and the landlord was doubling their rent, which would have meant that that's what they've been paying themselves for probably the better part of 20 years. So they had to make a decision. Do they hand the keys back or do we get creative, work together, pool resources? And so what we did was we figured out the right price point for them, but we did their cleaning for them, at least until we figured it out. And so they were not able to pay their operations. They couldn't keep that going, but they were able to save their business by strategically partnering. And by the end of summer, I think I was contacted by about 12 other local dry cleaners saying, can you guys help us also? Because we're going through the same thing. Thank you. And it seems now, so the delta between the reality of what inflation is right now and we have in front of us, the reality of that and the small business owners' capabilities, that delta is too great. So unless we affect change immediately, I fear that in the next few years, if we don't see that change, we might see another 30% of our industry and others no longer exist. So I just want to say thank you again, Mr. President, for allowing me to share my Go Green Dry Cleaner story. And thank you.
Thank you very much. We really helped a lot of people during the prime time of the China virus. And we helped a lot of people and we did it intelligently. Then when they took over, they just threw money around like it was dirt. And as you know, the recent monster hurricane, Helene, just wiped out so much. If you look at the different states, North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, Florida, Tennessee, it was just devastating. And the response was the worst since Katrina, but really a lot of people think it was much worse than Katrina. It's still, they haven't shown up. They're not in North Carolina.
What's happening, Cuddy?
People of North Carolina.
What it do? What it do?
How was your birthday, big dog?
Oh man, it was lovely. It was lovely.
Okay.
You know,
Hey
it was
man,
lovely.
what's the election looking like? Man, I ain't even been keeping up, but nigga low key been stressed over here.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do
No,
that.
No. What's it looking like though? What they talking about?
When I looked, Trump was up, but you know, it's still early. It's still early. It's a bunch of different coverage and stuff. So, we was up
Right.
on here just a second ago, just kind of chopping it up. And
you just got it playing right now.
when I got just coverage and just whenever people call in or chop it up, get something out of it. We got to get something out of it, right?
Right. No, I'm hella curious to see how this is gonna go. I ain't even gonna hold you.
Well, whatever it is, I still love you no matter if Kamala loses,
Yeah, because you niggas did vote for that good old Trump man.
Well, honestly, it's the lesser two evils and all this. I didn't really think that neither one of them was qualified for my vote. I didn't really hear nobody talk about reparations.
No, for real.
That's kind of what I was looking forward to. At least a little bit of talk about it, or maybe on her second term, or it's like it's been no talks about it. It's kind of like it's a joke us even asking for the shit.
No,
but
for real.
I get it, but that's not gonna make me enthused about voting if that's what they thought,
Right. No, I ain't even gonna lie to you, man. I still got my opinion. Like just playing devil's advocate with Trump. I done said my little 2-3 pieces about it. Like some of the shit he do be saying be wild, but sometimes I be feeling like that nigga be trolling. Because some of the shit he say, like I understand. I get it. And oh damn, I almost burnt these motherfuckers. And like people really do be trolling. It's just when he gets to talking about that racist shit, I'm like, all right, buddy. Now you're going too far. You're going way too far. And
what did he really say? Because nobody really told me anything that he actually said that was like 100% racist.
And it kind of
was. What I'm saying?
It's just the little underlining jokes, like that shit don't be professional. And then it be about like who he supports. Like that one dude on there talking about how he be eating carving watermelon with LeBron. Like, nigga, that was wild. With the black man. And he was like, was he referring to LeBron or maybe LeBron just commented on it? Did you see that?
Right.
What's going on, y'all?
What it do? What it do?
What it don't do.
Right, we out here just politicking about this, how I was saying how I didn't vote for him, but some of the shit he say, like I understand a little bit, just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, I'm really leaning towards the vice president because of women's rights. And
Women's rights. Okay, so let's talk about this. Here we go.
But wait.
Listen.
But wait, I'm not
Go ahead.
done, though.
Go ahead.
I'm not even done, though.
Go ahead, Cuddy. Go ahead. I apologize. Go ahead.
Plus, all the racist shit he's done said publicly in front of everyone. Like, what the hell?
Right.
But name, can we get a quote or two? Like, what did he say?
What didn't he say?
Come on, see, we can't do that.
And he called her. He pretty much called her a bitch. He called her a nigger.
No, thanks.
He said something about fried chicken. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, no, he's tripping.
Like, what? And I'm thinking about all the women who you mean you want to take abortion rights away? Look, what if a person gets raped, molested?
But listen,
They're forced to have a child?
That's a small percentage of women that happens to, that they conceive a
But
baby.
think about the percent that doesn't get recorded or anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's so much. I mean,
there's more women deleting babies because they had a good night at the club and they just don't want to take care of the
I'm
responsibility.
for equality. I just
But
can't see
y'all, can I
myself
say this too
voting
though?
for him.
What's wrong?
Uh-oh.
Can I play
This is
devil's
the
advocate real
conversation.
quick?
Uh-oh.
What's wrong? What's wrong with not wanting to bring another child into a broken home too? Because I ain't gonna share what I did.
Well, go get your tubes tied then. If that's how you feel, my thing is this: if you
Some
already
should be
conceived that
accident
child,
too.
well, God don't make accidents. God don't make mistakes. You know. So whether however that baby was conceived, I believe as a God-fearing man, I believe that was God's plan, right? So when we go in here and get to fucking that up, and there's a lot of women that abuse the shit. We know what's going on. You know,
Yeah.
the reason why they make the speed limits and stuff is not for the law-abiding people. It's for the people that abuse the speed limits. Okay, so while we're doing that, you know, we're kind of being inconsiderate. We want equality. I heard you say something about equality just about 30 seconds ago. You know, where is the equality? And I'll keep saying this over and over again to like a dead horse. Okay, so what if I want the baby, but you decide that you and your girls is gonna go to Cancun, and that baby, you know, you pregnant right now. You know that baby by time May come around. You know, that baby's gonna be fat, like your stomach's gonna be big. You know, you're not going to Cancun, you know, and there's a lot of girls that do that. You know, they're abusing the Plan B pill, the day after pill. They're doing all of this contraceptive, all of this stuff, but a man has no control over if he brings this baby into the world or not. So if you want to do equality, we got to make it equal. We just can't make it equality for all of the things that you guys agree with, but when it's a issue that plagues a man, you know, I mean, there's been guys that paid child support for babies that wasn't even theirs. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that happens, you know, probably more often than somebody gets violated and has a baby and wants to delete it, right?
Yeah,
You know what
that
I'm
should
saying?
be
So,
wild.
No,
I
it
mean, you know,
do.
I'm just
But
going off
it's
at the
real
mouth.
life. But it's real life stuff. So
That's right.
I
That's right.
I just no matter
I understand
I talked to my my mom and my grandmother about this before I came home. Like, no matter what, whoever wins, we still gotta just do what we're gonna do. Stay focused. Because it really matters about us voting for our governors in our state and everybody else in our state. Like,
no facts.
those are really the people we need to be voting for the laws here.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck the president.
No facts. And I
It's
said
our
that on the
state
last one
laws.
too. Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean, all those who are able to vote, vote.
What's the score, y'all? What's the score in the chat? Put the score up there in the chat so I can put up on the screen. You know,
Yeah,
hey.
because that's really what I need to talk about too. I'm like, what is it looking like? I don't even know how to read that. Okay,
Well,
so
Trump
explain
was
it to
up.
me.
Trump
I know
had
that,
over
like,
Trump had over a third of what he needed, and she only had like 20 something points. Like she
okay,
was
so you guys explain to me this because I called my mom. I didn't really understand. Like, so it's the electoral votes, right? I guess first person that gets to
Right.
270 or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So
Each state holds a certain amount of electoral votes.
okay, so what about like all the people that voted today or put their stuff in the mail today and it got stamped? How come those don't get counted? Because no one's staying up late tonight counting all those votes. It's gonna run into like the week. So
Well,
how do those
they
get?
know how many votes are in, and then they'll go off of like, okay, well, if you up by a landslide, and then with the percentage that's left, if you can't catch up, then they're not even they're just gonna call it. You know what I'm saying? We're not gonna count them all. I mean, they're gonna count them all, but we're not gonna count them all. You know, before we decide, unless it's really close. Like if it's a state that's really, really close, like neck and neck, then they have to go down to the last, 100,000 votes, 20,000 votes. You know what I'm saying? It's rare, but they do that, and then they say they might have a recount. They might have, you know what I'm saying? But
Oh, okay. So that's how it goes. So each state does count. It's
Mm-hmm.
just they know how many people in each state who's supposed to vote, and then that's how they count it. But if you're already up by so much, there's almost no point of even like counting them in the election, but they'll get counted for eventually. So you just know the numbers.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
See, you got a 517 SEK. You gaslighting. He said, Buck City. What if you? He said, what you gonna do when your wife come home from work and say her boss grabbed her by the foot? That
Okay.
you gaslighting though, because Trump never did that. You see what I'm saying? I think Trump, because I get dead like this too. I be doing basically nothing, and then they blow the shit up like I'm just doing some ridiculous shit. Like this happens in everyday life. Okay, so what Trump said that he wanted to grab that woman by the pussy, that was locker room talk. See, us men, we can't sit up
But
here
it
and
should have
act like
stayed in the locker room.
exactly. Nobody should have recorded him saying that, right? When you're with somebody and you're talking, you don't want people to record you, right? That's a violation of your privacy. So why isn't it a violation against Trump's privacy, right? In this locker room talk. Yeah, we got even LeBron James got up there and said it was unacceptable and everything. Of course, everybody's gonna say was popular, but let's be real. That's how guys talk. I can get 100 guys up here, and there'll be 5 guys that'll disagree with this type of talk, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's not. Yeah, when you're talking like that. Like if I was talking like that with the homies, I'm kind of, just on bullshit, but it's harmless, right?
Yeah, no, I
But
get it.
that's
Cause there
with the
be
homies. With the girls ain't your homies. That's the
But he
problem
didn't
with
say that.
it.
He didn't say that to the
But
girl.
he didn't interpret that either. He didn't say that either. He's a
No,
clown.
he told one of his partners, they was laughing, probably eating lunch or coming from the gym or some shit. And he was like, yeah, I would like to grab her by the pussy, or I grabbed her by the pussy, or whatever the fuck happened. He said it. But this is gaslighting when this guy is talking about. Okay, so let me answer your question, because I jumped all the way around the fence and everything. If my wife told me that, she's gonna have to fill out the human resources, or what is it? What do you guys do at work?
no,
You know
that
what I'm
is
saying? Like,
HR. Make a complaint. File a
right,
complaint. Mhm.
right, okay. And me,
That's considered harassment.
knowing me, I might
So
have
he ain't going to the police?
going to the police.
I think if it's at work, it just goes through your HR system. It don't do a police report unless it's like abuse or something.
Well, yeah, he said he grabbed her though. He grabbed the
Oh yeah,
boss,
you make a police
grabbed
report.
her by the pussy.
That's sexual harassment.
Yeah, that's crazy. Come on, bro. That's like, come on. Like, what are we talking about? Of course, like I'm gonna have some words with him myself though, right? And I'm not gonna, because you could get like felony harassment if you tell somebody you're gonna hurt them or kill them, or what I'm saying, if I tell them that. So you gotta watch it when you're out here talking and texting and stuff. Like you can't text somebody or call somebody and say, hey, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that to you. Like that's felony harassment, right? Like we got to be clear on that. So now I wouldn't go that far, but he'll know, like, if you do this, like I'm all in, like this is my relationship. This is, all these other broads, you on your own, but you fuck with this one, it's gonna be consequences. So you got to let them know. But yeah, she gonna go through the HR, and if it was like you're saying, just grabbed her, shit, why didn't she punch him in his fucking eye? That's what I'm gonna be asking her, So what you just supposed to just
My
let him
nerves are
do
over
that?
here shot. I'm like, oh my God, what's gonna happen?
I know that's what I thought too. I'm like, man, Cuddy probably gonna know, like what the hell is going on? But my
This is
thing is
like,
like too, like you said, man, at the beginning when you first hopped on, man, you just gotta do what you need to do in your own state, in your own city, teaching our kids how to properly, be an adult and let them know about, owning your own stuff, being knowledgeable on stuff like this, doing the right thing, little stuff like that, man, just becoming better human beings for generations and generations. So it just starts with you. But this, I ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of nervous about what's gonna go on. I feel like the last time Trump won, people was just going crazy. Like the white people were just going crazy with like racist stuff. And that what makes me nervous. Cause they feel like they got a green light. And I don't like that.
yeah, I feel like if he loses, it's gonna be a lot going on. Like we have
You think
a
so?
lot going on. Like to where I want to be in the house.
Yeah, no, for real.
Really?
For real.
Yeah. I feel
Oh,
like
so that's okay.
like Britt said, it's gonna be a lot of racism showing.
Yeah, man, they feel like they got the green light, man. It was bad. Y'all don't remember? Y'all had to, man, I went and got my, reinstated my gun license, went and grabbed something, because I was just nervous, man. I was like, oh, hell no.
But you know what? Thinking about it, you guys, it might take several days for them to count the votes. So we might not know tonight.
No, it's over today. I guarantee that.
All right.
It's gonna be over.
It could be the wee hours.
By 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock tonight on Pacific time, it's over.
Who you think gonna win, y'all?
It depends on who get them big states. I gotta really look at the chart. I gotta get the chart.
I gotta get in front of my TV. What's the update? Somebody in the chat. Anybody over there watching?
Let's see. Okay, I see 81 to 154. Trump.
Damn.
For what? That's not
Trump
that's
winning.
inaccurate.
You said what?
It said 80 something to one. What?
To 154 to 154. Trump been winning though. He came out the gate. It was a landslide.
But
You feel
it's
me?
crazy because it's like, damn, who really be voting? Because I be feeling like what I see on social media, TV, everybody's like for Kamala. But like this man is really winning by a landslide.
He needs 116 votes.
When did the count start going on?
Shit, maybe a couple hours ago.
Damn. Yeah. You might know tonight, like you said.
No, we're gonna know tonight. One thing about this election shit, it's always like on my birthday or like right there. So I'm an election baby for real, you know.
Yeah, you know.
We're gonna know this
Like
shit.
really. You really
Only
are.
time it was on some bullshit is when Trump was mad the last time and he was demanding revotes and all this shit, but they still,
the food's ready.
You know, we knew who won. We knew who won.
But
that shit.
why would we? And see, that's the thing. If he loses, we don't want
Texas
to
is,
see a repeat.
hey,
of
he's
what-
winning. He's winning Texas. Texas is 40 electoral votes.
Texas is a racist state, though.
You know,
He always wins Texas.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Rhode
It's the
Island,
red-
she's winning Rhode Island, but and they got 81% of the votes in. So you can almost say she wins that, but that's only 4 votes, though, right?
Yeah.
You know, Connecticut, it's only 7% in. It's 7 votes, and she's up 54%. She got.
Do you guys feel like she's losing too because she's a woman and a black woman at that?
She's winning Delaware. You know.
I think.
Oh, Def Chef's here. Def Chef's here.
I think there are a lot of men who's not ready.
Yeah, that's what
have
I
a
feel like too.
be present.
Mhm.
Def
You know.
Chef, I need some of those lumpia.
She's winning.
Yep.
She's winning
You already
Illinois.
know. I'm cooking
Make
some
it
now.
seafood.
Hey, she's winning Illinois That's a big one right there. She's
I ain't
winning
gonna lie, that
Pennsylvania
Dapster,
too.
I might pull up on you too if you doing something like that. I need a little bite.
Yeah.
If you selling them, do you be selling them
She's
like
winning
that?
Yeah.
Michigan.
That's what I
Okay.
do.
It's
That's
only
what he
Okay.
14%
does.
of the vote in. She's winning
That's
Michigan.
chef. Look, tell her you can Google me, baby.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you
Hello.
said that to one of the podcasts
She's
too.
winning
Oh, did you?
Massachusetts too.
Oh,
Hey,
well,
yeah,
now
Yeah.
you
Harris.
just talking shit.
Hey, it definitely not over, man. It's not over because she's winning a lot of these states, but it's still a lot of votes in.
Actually,
Like,
I'm very much so a leader, Gianna. I follow my ways of thinking and do what I want to do. And I do my research before I even do. Like
Oh, here this heifer go.
I can
Bitch.
easily say
Right.
I'm a Republican, but I'm not gonna vote for him though. I don't want to see him in office. So I chose to vote for the vice president.
I think that's a lot of Republicans too. They feel like, yeah, but this guy, no. Who you going for, Death? Death?
No, I'm
I'm
saying I could easily say that.
I'm
I
going
mean, and I
for
know
well,
people who's done did that. Who's done said that.
Right.
okay, so with me, my perspective is whatever is gonna push results for my people,
Yeah.
right? And so one thing I know, when we get a slave master we hate, the first thing we want to do is get off the plantation. When
Yeah.
we get a slave master we love, we just be content.
We be on our
bro,
shit, is what you're trying to say.
no, we be on our shit when we got our backs against the wall.
When our backs
That's
is
what I'm
against the
saying. When a
wall,
Republican get in, we be on our shit.
For real.
and with me, man, at the end of the day, I want us to win. Like, I don't really care about who's up in there, but if we could get somebody up in there where all of a sudden we a little more united, we support each other a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'm all for that because things are so bad. We need any kick in the ass we could get.
You know what else I feel about Trump? And this can just be my opinion. I don't know if it's true or not. I feel like when he was in office, like, yeah, he wanted to put money in certain type of people's pockets. But if a black person, an Asian person, a Mexican person was in that category, it didn't matter to him as long as that category was getting the money. So I kind of feel like too, it'd be like, yeah, he'd be for the rich, but it'd be for all rich people. He's not discriminating on that. But he might be discriminating on everything else. At least that's just what it seemed like to me, what I be seeing.
Mm-hmm.
But I ain't rich, so I don't know for sure. I ain't
Right,
there.
and the type of rich he's talking, yeah, he's talking about rich motherfuckers, not
But
somebody
yeah,
who's
and
just
then
well off.
Yeah,
I
but he
talked to
doesn't
my
care what color they is.
87-year-old grandma yesterday about who she voted for.
What'd she say?
And she said, I'm a Democrat. I believe in democracy, equality for all. She said, I used to have to pick cotton in the fields, me and my siblings, and watch my mama and my daddy slave. So that meant a
Yeah.
lot to me to hear my grandmother say that. Like, just hear her talk about life and how many people she's done voted for and why she is a Democrat.
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, 87-year-old woman telling me, you know what I mean? So, and for her to be alive to witness this, a woman running for president at that, is like, wow, grandma, you've been here for eons, like real life eons.
No, for
Oh
real.
yeah, she done seen shit go from black and white to color. She done witnessed a lot.
Man, a hell of a lot.
Yeah, she done witnessed a lot. She
Like,
witnessed the creation of TV.
literally starting from the bottom. Now we're here, you know, like that. So just hearing her story and just Like, damn. Yeah, I get it, Granny.
So do you guys feel like it don't matter if you're Democrat or Republican? It just matters on who the person is that's running for Democrat or Republican. Does that
Yeah,
matter
those,
to
yeah,
y'all,
those are
you're
those.
fully just on one side?
Well, me, I understand that those are just titles. It's almost like being from a neighborhood or even like a family last name. Like, those are titles, but everybody's still gonna be an individual,
Yeah,
and that's really what it's about for me. Like,
me too. Yeah,
who's gonna do something individually, and if I know you ain't gonna do nothing individually, give me some sort of motivation, even if it's because I hate you. Motivation's motivation, and black
right,
people need to be motivated.
right. So you must have voted for Trump.
Man, I ain't vote.
You didn't vote.
Nah,
You still got time. They said in the comments.
man, I'm over here, man. I'm frying up.
Man,
I'm frying up my kids some lumpia.
they said it's 2 hour backup from in Renton to South Center, trying to get to the poll, to the Renton poll.
I
The
wonder why
line is
people
hella long.
wait. Why do people wait last minute? Like polls opened up 2 weeks ago, right?
Man,
Sometimes
you are,
people are
but
routine life and get excited to just put their vote in. We used to do that for hella years. It
yep,
used to be exciting to go. I think when I was younger,
yep.
like, 18, 19, it was cool. Like, ooh, I come to vote. But now that they made
Vote
it more convenient to be able to turn it in, ooh, I'm
voting
going to
night is
turn
an
mine in the
American
mail.
voting night is an American tradition. I remember it was like a holiday in the CD growing up with all the old heads. It was like Black Friday. You know how Black Friday be.
Yeah.
That's what vote night was back in the day. It was the equivalent of Black Friday. Like that shit was serious.
Yeah. See, I don't think I ever had to go to the polls. I think I always turned mine in.
Yeah, that was, but yeah, I'm talking about when you had to go to the poll. Wasn't no mail-in vote.
Mm-hmm.
At least where I was living at, they wasn't doing that.
No, I'm just probably a little younger too. Not by much though, I feel like. But
You in your 30s, ain't you?
yeah, I'm 34.
See, I'm 50.
Damn, for real?
And I'm,
Yeah.
and I'm 39.
Yes, I'm old, man.
Is that a
Grown
recent picture
niggas.
of you?
Yeah, that was from 2 years ago.
Damn, you still look young as hell. I thought
Yeah.
you might have been in your late 30s.
Nah, man.
Damn. I know it's crazy. Them guys are about to be 40. I can't even believe my cousins is about to be 40. It don't even seem right. Because we still, man, the way we be getting down don't even seem like we the age we is anyway.
I don't think any of us.
Right. That's what I'm saying. The way we be acting, man,
You
we
got
is
to
not
stay
for age.
vibrant, man.
Okay.
That's the goal. Stay vibrant.
Yeah.
That's how you stay looking so young too. Is acting like that. People don't understand that.
Not being stressed out, not being
Yes.
angry. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just real life.
Yeah.
People be like, oh, you too childish, and that's why I still look like a child, and you look old as hell.
That's why you come on. Yep.
Over there stressed out.
Frown,
Nigga
just
over there stressing you out. Them
ain't
kids over there
smiled.
stressing
Look,
you out.
ain't smiled about nothing in ever.
Right.
And you wonder why you looking all fucked up because nigga, you unhappy.
Mm-hmm. Right. Hey man, did this nigga B&B ever get on the podcast a few days ago? Because I was listening to the Owen DUI wanted him to get on so bad. I didn't get to finish it though.
I don't know. Shit, there's hell of them. I hop off because all the guys take over. So might as well log off.
Right after a while, you can't even put your 2 cents in.
Gotta log off. I can't get a word in. This will
Right.
probably be the only night I'm able to talk. So hey, but
Hey,
what's
people in
the
the
chat looking like? Let's see the comments. Hi, I'm from Australia. Hey, Australia.
Man, is that same dude who be
The two.
chasing you around?
Oh no, not me. Might be Jack.
Yeah,
Jack
Jack.
Jack.
There's somebody who beyond Jack. I'd be like, man,
They be loving it.
she
That's
gonna
what
get
I'm
her a proposal in this bitch.
right.
No, for real. I
A
think
good judge.
It's Chris and it's who's the other one? Is it Valley Alley too? Or no, Valley Alley don't be doing that. I know for sure it'd be Chris and one more.
One of them.
Nigga be on her like, man, boy, you guys seen Snowfall, how man boy be on the one chick.
No, for real.
Niggas be on her like that.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, man. I miss Snowfall so bad. I low-key started rewatching it again.
Oh, it's coming back.
Is it? Oh, it is coming back.
Yeah,
You're
it's
right.
coming back.
But
Yeah,
it's coming off with a spinoff though, and I heard Franklin ain't even gonna Franklin ain't the main character.
but he gonna be in it though.
No, he gonna be in it, but I heard it's more about his best friend and the crackhead.
Them gangbangers.
Yeah, exactly. Damn, it tore me up how they did Franklin, man. They didn't have to do him like that, man. Like, why couldn't y'all make him really make it?
Because that ain't how it go.
I'm probably one of the ones that be way behind on all the shows. Well, I know I am.
Oh yeah, if you ain't seen Snowfall, Cuddy.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. I ain't seen it either. I just watched the clips.
No
I ain't seen it
way.
either.
Y'all ain't seen Snowfall? That's like one of the best TV shows in the world.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it. I just ain't did it, but I'm going to. I just ain't did it yet.
From Portland to Seattle, they've been blowing up the ballot boxes. What?
What, with M80s? With actual like explosives or what?
Right, who Andre? With what, Andre? That's scary, man. Hey, what's the vote looking like in the chat, y'all? What's the score? Up the skull. He said dynamite. Damn.
Well, I'm sure.
What is
I'm
it?
sure. I'm sure in the chat it's probably gonna be mainly Harris supporters. I don't really see a bunch of.
Hell no, them girls, a few girls already said, excuse me, we're followers and
No,
they
sorry.
want
I'm
Trump
a
to win.
leader. Born leader, honey.
They want Trump to win because they leaders, huh? Niggas is crazy.
That's why I
That's
say
funny.
hella shit be a joke. Like, we need to be worrying about locally who everybody's voting for.
No facts.
Do we need a new governor here and all kind of shit?
Oh, we do too.
You know, so that's the shit that matters. Like,
Oh, we shit.
Philly,
You
our
need a
state.
new governor. So do we.
Right. So
What's the score now, y'all? In the chat. Who's watching it?
I'm about to go
What
turn
channel is it on?
I figured Dr. Hood would have a window up.
You know, Dr. Hood's probably stepped away, got the blunt.
Well, no, I do both. I cook. I
Oh,
got the.
okay,
I
multi.
cook. I do it all. But it's 80. I don't want to break the news to y'all. Trump slid away with another 18 points to her nothing.
Hey, I'm annoyed as hell at that football game last night. Y'all watch that game?
Nah, but I've been hearing a
me
lot.
off.
What
Kansas
happened?
City, yeah, that's my team. I was watching
I
that.
already know. That's why I asked you. It pissed me off. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's
You guys aren't gonna sit here and watch it, are you?
Huh?
Big Kamala, Big Kamala.
K Money.
I needed a drink, man. I should have went and got a bottle right fast.
See, you supposed to already have that, Cuddy. You supposed to have all that shit.
I know, I usually do,
No.
but man, I've been trying not to drink for a few weeks.
Oh yeah, here I'm talking. I don't drink that much, so I just got the shit.
Yeah, usually I do, and I usually, I stock up, but I've been trying not to drink, so I ain't been having it in the house. But man, fuck that, all that's over with. I need a drink.
Well, you got to get some shit that you don't normally drink, right?
Oh, it's probably some
That's
dark.
how. That's
I
how
got
you make
some
a
dark
bar.
in here.
If you make a bar with all your favorite shit, it's always gonna be empty.
Facts. I do got a bottle of some champagne, a couple bottles of champagne in here, but I don't never drink that.
There you go. There you go. The little champagne, man, for this wonderful night in America.
No, but I'm not used to drinking champagne. That shit might have me feeling like wine, a headache the next day. I don't know.
Champagne.
I got some of that little Bel Air up in there. What that be feeling like?
I never really drank. Well,
That's the blue bottle.
I got both, a blue and a white.
Yeah, I got a white one and a blue one right here.
Yeah, the white and gold one, huh?
It's kind of, I ain't gonna lie, man. It's kind of it's like a cheaper version of fucking Clico or something, you know?
Okay.
It's not the truth, bro.
So what's the one you should be getting?
Man, if you was on some real shit, man, go get the orange level Clico, man. That's all you need.
Let me Google it. The orange what? Orange Clico?
Yep.
ORNG Clico. Oh yeah, I be seeing this thing here, man.
Yeah, Clico, that's the classic.
Yeah, I be seeing this thing. What that pink and white one be hitting for?
Oh, the pink one?
The pink and gold.
That's rosé, so that's gonna be about $70-$80.
Damn, that's how much a bottle is. So it's the same price. Champagne be the same price as alcohol.
It depends. Depends on what you're drinking. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, champagne, you're gonna suck that down probably faster though, you know.
Right.
Champagne, I mean, you ain't gonna get that much. I mean, if you could drink it up, it ain't got that much alcohol in it.
So it's like wine, basically.
I'd probably say a little stronger though. I think what's
Okay.
wine? I think champagne probably got like 14% or something.
Yeah, wine usually be having like 7-8, but you can find a good 12,
Okay, yeah.
10. Yeah. All right, yeah, I'm gonna have to go try this then.
Then they got other bottles too. You know, they got other shit, but the Clico's it's it, man. I mean, you can step your game up. You know, I got some Pierre Jouet. I got a 2007 bottle. I'm not even gonna pop it till 2027. You know,
Smart. So the
Like,
thing
I'm not
about
even
too with
gonna pop it.
champagne is like, how do you like if you don't drink the whole bottle? What you just do? Buy them corks.
Yeah, they got
Is
the
that-
one little the compression thing, but eventually you're gonna fuck the bottle up. You got to drink that shit, man.
Right when you crack it, huh?
That's why they got those half-size bottles. You know, they got the
Mm.
half-size bottles. They got the 4, because a regular bottle's a 4. You know, it's gonna pour basically 4 nice glasses of champagne. You know, that's a bottle. You know,
Okay.
and so those half-size bottles, you know, if it's just you and somebody else or you by yourself, you know, I used to love the half. That was my shit, you know. That's just to the head, me, you know.
Oh yeah, I see 1.9. Oh no, that's how many. Never mind, that's how many miles it is. Yeah, I'm gonna try some one time. Trump
DUI, the fly guy on election night. What's up, brother? Talk to us, man. Who you voting for?
Man, I was trying to figure it out, brother.
Wait, nigga, you ain't put your ballot in?
I'm not gonna. I can't vote. Shit.
Oh yeah, that is true.
Yeah, man.
If you could, who would you go for?
I'm not even on front.
Oh
he
damn,
got
he good. Carla,
What up? What up?
Chicago. What up? What up?
What up? What up?
who you voting for?
I didn't vote.
Call
What
in,
the
BNB.
bro?
Call
What is
in,
up
BNB.
with y'all, man?
You
Why?
one of them. You one of them motherfuckers now. I mean, you gotta call in now, man. You know.
No, I
Yeah.
seen I want B&B to get on too because DUI was on his head towards the end. I didn't really get to see if he got on, but I'm trying to see what that nigga look like. Tell that funky ass nigga Michael Leonhardt, whatever the fuck his name is, to get his old Mack truck face looking ass on here too.
Damn, you gotta go ham.
Nah, they ain't seen that yet. They have my cousins fucked up.
Yeah, that's how Kamala supporters act. What?
Okay.
Hey, my phone cut out, but I probably, Trump, man. I probably fuck with Trump, real shit.
I mean, it's a war.
I understand it.
Either way.
I mean, I don't really know, man.
So for the ladies that's going for Kamala, okay, so we haven't, in all fairness, we haven't had her for president yet.
Right.
But how much different is her setup gonna be from Biden? And was the Trump era better than the Biden era? You know what I'm saying? If so, if she's gonna be just like Biden, that's what I think. I think she's just
Hell
gonna
no.
be just like
Interest
Biden.
rates high as hell, gas high as hell, groceries high as hell. Man, I went in there to try to get them little chips for the nachos. Why is a bag of chips $6 and some change? That's crazy. That don't make no sense. They got juice taxes,
Everything's being
sugar
taxed.
taxes.
But it's gonna be taxed with Trump in their office as well.
Well, he's just saying, like, what was the difference? And honestly, I don't know if this is a difference of us coming off of COVID or coming off of what Trump did or what. Like, I don't really know how that stuff works because you always hear about how one president is always making right or making due from the president previous. So I don't know how true that stuff is.
But it goes down to the senates and stuff as well. So what are they allowing? You get what I'm saying?
Right. No, for real. All right.
So
It's about that
it's
time
like, and
for
then
us
and
too.
it's a whole bunch of Republicans in the Senate House. So you gotta, all up in there. So they're not gonna give her much leeway anyway to do anything because that's just the same thing as when Obama was in
Yeah.
presidency. You gotta think about that too. And then, they was trying to, I don't know. When it
Hey,
comes to
oh yeah,
politics,
people is getting hit with the PPP loans, man. Any
of
of
course
y'all do
they
the
are.
PPP?
I didn't.
Hey, Trump was trying to get the mask out of here, all that. Schoolboy. This is somebody I definitely want to hear your perspective about this.
Hey, what's happening? What are we on tonight?
We on the
What's
election
happening?
tonight, Schoolboy. We talking about the election
Yeah.
tonight.
Hey, oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I was watching the results right now a little while ago.
What's the score right now, right fast?
205 Trump, 100 and something Kamala. Those are the
Cuddy,
electoral
you
vote.
right. You right. It's about to be over by the night, man.
But you gotta
it's over.
understand too, they said that the only 60 something percent voted in Washington. I mean Seattle. Not even that's more than half, but come on, if everybody would have voted, what do you think
Yeah,
the
and
outcome would be?
they put stats out there. They have different trends from the past compared to today to now, and then how things look the way they're going in The reason they put the numbers up
Oh
that
damn, my
early
phone dropped.
is because the margin is so wide that, you know, even if there's another million votes, it wouldn't change the percentage.
Right.
Like you have Kamala at 34 and Trump at 76 or something like that. So that's how they're looking at it, because there's still a margin for changes, but they're kind of following the trends, and they're using how it would look if this many more votes were counted. They can tell how many votes are due yet going by the past numbers. So in some states you have 40, 50,000 votes still not counted. In other states could be up to 1 million. But they're just using that as a marker because the discrepancy is so wide. So it's still up for grabs. There's still a lot of time left. They probably won't know till after midnight.
And then what about the votes that got burnt up? You know, there's people burning up the mailboxes.
Yeah. Yep. That, and then they had a problem with some of the machines in where was it? One of the states, Pennsylvania, I think, or something. The way they counted, so they're going to have to recount those.
Yep.
So, but like I mentioned before, if you know, I'm like, I think Chef said it or somebody said it. You know, I can't vote, but the way I would look at it was things better for you under Trump or under Biden? All things being concerned, you know.
Right.
That's how I would look at it, because it's not Trump's going to do what he did last time, and Kamala's going to follow the Democratic Party, what they've been doing for 30, 40 years.
Right.
And that's how it. The thing to look at is interest rates and inflation.
That
And you can follow each president and see where they were on inflation. For example, Trump during his term, the inflation rate the inflation rate was 1.9%. Under Biden, it was 5.4%. So that's what I would guess it's going to be. It would be similar to that, depending on who wins. You want high interest or low interest?
We want
You
the
want
low interest.
Of course. Of course. And that's why I say, you know, government really can't do that. They can promise you all this stuff. They can even give you money. That doesn't, in the long run, that doesn't matter. What you have to do is make energy cheap, because everything falls behind energy, and you have to have the interest rates low. The you know, for whatever it is you're getting, whether it's a house, car, anything, the interest rate has to be low. So they can give you 25, 30,000 for a new house, but if the interest rate is at 8% over 30 years, that's an extra $250,000 on your loan. If it's at 3%, it's only $100,000 over 30 years. I would rather have that than $25,000. That's nothing.
Right. That's crazy. But I don't know. For me, this is it's a hard one for me, because I'm like, either way we're doomed.
Yeah. Well, you gotta try and take the emotion out of it. You know, he said this, she said that. He, you know, he's like this, she's like that. Whatever it is, whoever it is, and then look at their record. The only record Trump has in politics is when he was president. Everybody else, they have a long history in politics. So you can see what they did, how they voted, what they were for, what they were against, what they said back then compared to all this stuff. And Trump, even though when he wasn't in politics, he's pretty consistent on how he feels. And people don't like him because of his rhetoric, and he can be an asshole and say all kinds of shit. For me personally, I don't care. Because just because someone talks nice doesn't mean their ulterior motives are good.
Right.
So I look at what they do. they all good. I mean, there's good things about all of them, but there's bad things about all of them too. So I have to see performance. You know, it's kind of like anything else. Hands on. What are they doing? What did they do?
Right. How you feel, Buckworld?
What's up, Woody?
The DUI?
What's up, Carla? What do you do?
Shoot, nothing. Trying to cook this food so I can go watch these elections. Ugh.
Right, I'm just laying back like a Mac. You feel me?
Yeah, I'm just. It is what it is at this point. Shoot,
Right.
I know draw.
In another couple hours, it'll be pretty much set because all the eastern to central states will have all their votes counted. So it might go on till midnight, but
No, it'll go until midnight. They'll know exactly at midnight.
You know
Well,
they
you know,
gonna prolong it like they do every year.
yeah.
That's my guy, Def Chef.
Yes, sir.
I can't say his real name on here because that's Def
Yeah.
Chef.
I'm there with you. He's good people, man.
That's my guy.
Absolutely, you're my guy.
For sure. But I went to Mom Duke's house, and Mom Duke's and Pops had the Kamala shirts on. I
did
voted for
they?
Kamala. Yeah, they both had the shirts on. I was like, damn, what did I miss?
You ain't missed nothing.
But they're gonna represent for it, not saying anybody black, but come on now, that's just how they rocking, I guess.
Yeah, they're Democrats as well, so they're gonna go for the
Yeah,
Democratic Party.
that's the party loyalty. Even my mom
Trump
is.
seemed like he's trying to have us living better. That's what it seemed like, bro. He want to make the world a better place. It seemed like.
You think so?
Yeah.
I ain't really been keeping up this year.
He said "Make America Great Again," but he also referenced 1776, I believe. And that's when we still was enslaved.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know
That's
what I
true,
mean?
but that's true, but the whole world was enslaved back then.
Right. So when was America great?
Well, 1776, that's when the country was formed. 1812, we won a second war against England. 1920, women got the vote. 1945, we won World War II.
Yeah.
1953, Korean War. In the 60s, you have the Civil Rights Act was passed. I think those are pretty great events. There's always bad no matter what.
But yeah, America low key been great though, if you ask me.
Well, compared to a lot of other places, we have more freedom, and I mean, there isn't really anything. If you want to do it, you can do it here.
Right.
And everybody go through trials, tribulations. It's just that stigma of slavery, which was so terrible that people can't let go of, and maybe you shouldn't let go of it, because if it's always in the back of your head, then at least it's never gonna freaking happen again. That's for sure. Ain't nobody gonna put up with that here again. It ain't gonna happen. Where other parts of the world, it ain't never stopped. And honestly, worldwide slavery didn't get abolished worldwide till 1987. And even after that, there's still countries that have slavery. You have it in China, you have it in different countries in Africa.
Damn.
That's just people prey on the weak, and it's terrible. So I don't think, especially today, there ain't no person of color that, regardless if you black, Mexican, Chinese, or whatever, that's gonna just accept being dominated like that again. Ain't gonna happen.
No.
Not here.
That's what I said. I said I couldn't see it going back to how it used to be, just how people are anyway nowadays.
Mm-mm.
Niggas ain't
People,
going.
no, they ain't. Man. You cross somebody today, they're gonna get in your face, and you might have a fight.
Man,
Back then, you crossed them, and they just kept their mouth shut.
they
Even
just
in my
out there.
culture, same thing, all through the Southwest, from California, Southern California to Texas. Couldn't say nothing until about the 70s. And then people started getting wise and they didn't put up with other people's shit.
Yeah, shit's crazy nowadays, man.
Yeah, it is. But I think things are better. You know, the thing, you know, I always talk about family and I always talk about the good part, you know, but regardless, if you married or in a long-term relationship, you're going to go through a lot of crap. That's just standard. So you have to make it better. And things get better if you do the right things. You respect each other and communicate and all that.
Right.
But compared to the past, you know, I'm better off than my parents were. They were better off than their parents, and that's what you try and do as a head of household or family. You want your kids to be in a better position than you are.
You want to keep doing better, man. You feel me?
Yeah. Yep. And you
Keep
know,
shit
my
on
kids,
the up and up.
yeah, you know, who wants to see their kids fail or not graduate high school or something? Nobody. Generally, some people don't care. They never have and they never will. But for the most part, you want things to get better. You make it get better. Now we have opportunities to make our own money. We don't need to have a boss. If you don't want to have one, don't have one. If you do, then move up the ladder in whatever job you got. Even if you start at McDonald's, work at McDonald's, flipping fries, whatever, flipping burgers and frying fries. And then one day look to own it yourself.
Right.
Be a manager. Be a
Flipping
line cook,
burgers,
and then
flip some burgers,
you know,
trap on
yeah.
the side. Nah, I'm fucking.
There you go. Right, and then you could have side hustles, legal
Right.
side hustles. You don't have to do illegal shit no
I'm
more.
talking about.
Like that. I do
Use
it all the
that.
time.
You working at McDonald's as a damn networking piece. Everybody's
Hey,
pulling up in the drive-thru. You need to
Yeah.
pop your shit. Hello.
Yep, exactly. I mean, my whole family does that. They all of them got some kind of side hustle they do, and
Right.
it covers the broad spectrum of everything, from selling pens to old stuff. You know, throw away somebody's garbage. You know, somebody else wants to buy it. My charcuterie. My daughter does a charcuterie business. You know, where you get them boards and put ham and all that stuff on there. Another one, paint houses. Yeah. I'm just saying, you know, you just got to put your mind to work. And everywhere you go, like I sell shirts, right? So all my family has my shirts. Everywhere they go, they wear the shirts. And then somebody asks them, "Hey, that's a nice shirt. Where'd you get it?" "Oh, just contact my dad."
Right.
And like that. That's that networking you're talking about. Somebody will buy it. They'll hit me up, or they'll tell them, "Bring me a shirt to work tomorrow. I'll pay for it." You know, this size and like that. Just little bits like that. Just piles up, so that you don't have to suffer and worry about, you know, where your next meal is coming from. Are you going to pay rent? You know.
Right. It looked like
My wife and my daughter-in-law, they sell stuff on eBay. Stuff that you would think is junk. Some of this stuff goes for $300-$400 for a candle holder or an old piece of memorabilia, you know. It's just junk they have in the garage. They look through it and then they look it up. Hey, this is worth some money. She got an old cookie jar thing. It's worth $400, man.
Damn.
She's gonna sell it. I said, "You gonna sell it?" "Yeah." "You liked it?" "Yeah, but I don't care. I don't use it. It's just in the garage in a box." Well, then sell it then.
That they like online where you can buy stuff from them and then sell it like on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
What is that called? Shopify.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah. Or you can go down to the 99-cent store, you know, and buy a bunch of crap and sell it.
Okay.
You know. or go to yard sales and stuff. And we do everything. We sell aluminum can, we collect them, sell that. That's $40 a month. She has a yard sale every weekend. Spend a couple of hours out there, make $100. That's an extra $400 a month.
Right.
Sell this, that, $100 here, $200 there, $40, $30, whatever it is. It all accumulates. I don't know what she does with it because I don't ever see none of it, but I know it's there. Get some kind of skill. That's kind of where I'm pointing my grandson at. Learn a trade, some kind of skill. As long as he graduates high school, he's okay. If he wants to go to college, he can go. If he wants to go to the military, he can go. If he wants to start his own business, he can go.
Hey, I got to answer this phone call.
All right, brother.
Oh yeah. Let me see, man. Yeah. I guess she's climbing back into it a little bit. I mean, another 70 points. That's it. I don't know what the projections are. I know she had a whole bunch of states that were real early. So I say she's gonna get,
she's gonna get up there because she's gonna get California for sure.
California got a lot of votes. How many votes is California?
I think it's something like, I don't know, 20, 30, 40, something. I don't know. It's a lot of electoral votes.
It's a lot.
Yeah. And so is New York. She already won New York. The biggest states are California, New York, Texas, and Florida. So Trump already won probably Texas and Florida. She's already won New York. She's going to win California. She already won Colorado. So it might not look close, but I think it's going to be close. And maybe Trump won't win. Maybe Kamala will. But if she does, don't expect things to change too much. I don't think. She got to follow the agenda. Because the same people that were in power before her is where she comes from. They all connected, and not just Democratic. The Bush has been knowing Obama since he was little. The Obamacare was written by a Republican senator, and was the same senator who started Medi-Cal and Medicaid, or Blue Cross and Blue Shield. So there's connections there. It just depends on whose side is on whose side.
Right.
It ain't over yet, man. Not even close.
Yeah. Because it was like this last time when Trump lost.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like this. He was winning, and that's why it was so much of an uproar. Because it's like, damn, how did he lose this?
Yeah. And then it makes people, wonder, because you have these, like I said, why did those ballot boxes all of a sudden screw up? Why are they burning ballots? Having all this. In Pennsylvania, they had some dispute or something. The Supreme Court had to fix it or some shit. I don't know. It's always something like that.
Volunteers. All of Team Alsobrook, every single volunteer. Thank you, not just for believing in this movement, but I thank you for working so hard to take the movement to the people. So for every single volunteer who opened your home, who met us in coffee houses, met us in backyards, for all the donors who contributed, I want to just say thank you so much for every phone call and every door knock. Thank you so very much. And to the people, thank you. That's Wanda Durant, you guys. To the people of Maryland, especially the folks who came out. Now, you all know we started a little later tonight, And you know why that was? It was because our college students and first-time voters, so many of them showed up at the polls tonight. They had to keep the polls open later because our children came out to vote tonight. And so I want to just say thank you to them, and also want to just give a special shout out to my hometown, Prince George's County, Maryland. Prince George's County, Maryland.
Cough.
The ones who I love so much. You know, I woke up this morning to my neighbor.
All right, you're hearing there from Angela Alsobrooks declaring victory after her race call against former Maryland Governor, Republican Larry Hogan there, and she goes to the Senate, replacing outgoing retiring Senator, the Democrat, Ben Cardin here. I'm Andrew Kraft. Thanks so much for being with us. We're a little past the bottom of the hour now here, a little after 8:30 Mountain Time, a little after 10:30 on the East Coast there. Thanks so much for being with us. We are in for it tonight. Remember, we're not stopping. We are going live, raw, and unfiltered throughout the course of the evening, bringing you these results in real time, coming to us from the Associated Press here. And in the meantime, we do have some of these race calls I want to bring you. Let's go to the District of Columbia right now. You see there Harris getting their 3 electoral votes. This race was called, about 10 minutes ago
that was
here.
a
Also, we have some
landslide.
results coming in.
Yeah.
Some of these Western battleground states, including Arizona. Take a look at that. Arizona has 11 electoral votes.
that
As
was
you know,
close.
it's a battleground, very close here, but a little under half of estimated votes counted there. So neck and neck there in Arizona between Trump and Harris. Let's go to Missouri briefly. Remember, Hawley was facing a Democratic challenger in Lucas Kunce there, and he won this race. Hawley 52 over Lucas Kunce there 46. 45% of estimated votes counted. Hawley goes back to the Senate with another 6-year term. In the meantime here, we do want to bring into the conversation my colleague Austin Westfall in the Live Now newsroom and New York Post's E.G. Gankarski. He joins us as well. We'll start with Austin. Austin, we were trying to get through where the battleground states lie right now as far as the presidential contest is concerned. What do they?
Let's go through them. So let's start up in Wisconsin. Let's just go with what the AP is calling for now. 53% of the vote so far tallied, according to the Associated Press. That's a tight race. 49.5% to 49%. Trump up by 0.5 of a percentage point in Wisconsin. Moving over to Michigan, which is currently, and it's light blue, but if you really look at the results, that's a dead tie, 49.1 to 49.1. It looks like we just lost that. Let's move on to Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, considered the most pivotal battleground state, 19 electoral votes up for grabs in the Keystone State. Right now, Trump has a roughly over 100,000 vote lead over Kamala Harris right now. So we're looking at Trump having just under 3 points of a lead versus Harris right now. That's the most important battleground. Going down to North Carolina, we're getting in a little more results there. 83% of the votes have been tallied in the Tar Heel state. And right now, Trump has just over a 2.5% lead. Going further south to Georgia, 88%. So we've been speaking all night about preliminary results, Andrew. We can toss that
I've been
out
getting
now when
those
we're talking
results
about
pretty
state places.
fast.
Georgia has 88%
Yeah.
of the votes tallied. Trump with 51.3%, Harris with 48.1. I'm going to zoom out again because we've been saying all night, Trump's easiest path to victory, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia. Still a lot of votes to be counted in Pennsylvania, but for now, we're seeing that Trump has a slight margin, especially in Georgia here. We're starting to see some of these counties really fill in. Not surprisingly, seeing this kind of blue blob in the Atlanta metro, but then we see all of these bright red and dark red rural counties that are pretty much balancing out, if not overcoming, some of what we're seeing in some of these larger cities, specifically the Atlanta metro. Let's zoom back out just to make sure that we hit every battleground state that we can. Arizona's the other one. 50% of the votes in here. So half of the vote tallied Most of this coming from Maricopa County. Maricopa County is most of the ball game in the Grand Canyon State. Right now, we've got a dead tie, 49.6 to 49.6. Interesting, to say the least, Andrew, as this map gets filled out. Let's ask AG about it.
So, AG, thanks so much for being with us. AG with the New York Post, of course. What can we glean from some of these battleground states here? Is it accurate to say that some are too close to call? Not Georgia, is it?
You know, I think Georgia is trending toward Trump, but the thing I'm noticing is that blue wall is looking like it's going to crack. I mean, you know, what's happening in Michigan, what's happening in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, it's going to come down to late returns from these like bigger cities. But, you know, really, it's looking more like 2016 than 2020. And, you know, that's kind of remarkable for people who thought that Harris, you know, had a pathway that, you know, was more like Biden's in 2020. It's looking much more like Trump's got the 2016 coalition. You know, men are coming out to vote for him. And, you know, this is really a remarkable political comeback in the making by Donald Trump, because I think a lot of people looked at this a few weeks back and said there was no way he can make inroads in the blue wall. And there was a lot of thought to say Jill Stein would be a bigger factor in a place like Michigan. He hasn't been as of yet. So this is just Trump versus Harris, like, you know, R versus D. But, you know, Trump is really, you know, he's really driving it right now.
So, AG, I've got Pennsylvania up right now. 51% of the vote so far is going for Trump. He has roughly a 3-point lead over Harris. 57% of the vote has been counted. Let's talk about what is considered the most pivotal battleground state here. There is still 43% of the vote to be tallied. What are we going to be watching for as we get that 43% of the vote in?
Philadelphia County, you know, because that is predominantly Democratic. I think in 2020 was more than 80% for Joe Biden. And you expect similar margins with Kamala Harris, but the question is always turnout. Like how many people actually turn out to vote? You know, how many votes are counted in, you know, the coming days? It's not just what we see tonight, but we'll see what we see in the next couple of days as well. So, you know, a Trump lead, you know, say 3 o'clock in the morning isn't necessarily safe in Pennsylvania because of Philadelphia County primarily. The rest of the state, you know, Trump's got an advantage in it, but yeah, that's machine politics, and you know, it works a little bit more slowly, it works a little more gradually, and it looks a bit rougher from the outside, where people are saying, "Why haven't these votes been counted already?" You've got late votes, you've got precincts that take a while to count for whatever reason, you've got anomalies that happen in the counting process, all kinds of things. So people will be watching that one over the next couple of days for sure.
Okay, so AG, we have a live picture there at the Harris Walls watch party. You said there are indications of 2016 vibes, so to speak, when Hillary Clinton lost. Do you see any of that on the faces of some of these Harris Walls supporters here? Because I want to ask you this. You know, the question going into the night was whether or not we would know a winner in the presidential contest tonight. Do you think we will, or will it take till tomorrow morning?
I think it's going to take a day or two before we have something where we can say somebody's going to be the winner. I just don't think that we're going to have enough of the count in tonight, especially in those blue wall states, to really figure it out. I think Arizona may take a little bit of time too. It looks a little close from what I'm seeing also. So, you know, between those states, you've got, 55 electoral votes between the four? You know, that's a lot of suspense. So, you know, expecting a winner before you go to bed tonight, I think is a little bit unrealistic. But the trend right now is Donald Trump. It's looking good for him. But, you know, you have to consider that the late votes, you know, that the late counted vote, the mail vote, things like that, that is going to trend Democratic. And, you know, so any margin that Trump has at, you know, 10:41 Eastern time may not hold, you know, when we wake up in the morning.
You know, let's talk about Detroit. I want to talk about Michigan. We talk so much about some of these southern states, and we've been talking about Pennsylvania. Let's talk about Michigan. And I'm going to just kind of zoom in on Detroit here, because that's one of the largest Arab American populations in the country. When we focus in and we go in on what is, and let's just make sure we get this correct here. We're focusing in on.
We got 210. We got 212. Yeah, 210 to 112.
Yeah,
he's climbing, man. I mean, the popular vote, he's winning that one too. I mean, it's by more than what we're looking at. What's that, like 5 million or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
he's
if you look
ahead.
at the map, you know, it's the whole country is mostly red.
Right.
You know, but unfortunately or fortunately, depending on which side you're on, most of the population are in major cities, and most of the major cities are Democrat.
Right.
But then I would ask, in any major city, has the cost of living gone up? Has the crime gone up? As you know, we see it all over the news, no matter where you're looking. You know, they thrash them and they don't arrest people and they allow them to, you know, destroy businesses and all that stuff. I mean, who wants that? So, you know, like for Chicago, I don't know how it is now, but a couple of years ago it was Democrat governor, Democrat mayor of Chicago, Democrat chief of police, you know, and the city went to shit. 50 murders a week end, something like that. You know, it's crazy. And the border states, except maybe for New Mexico, you know, Arizona has tipped the other way a little bit, more Republican now, because they're allowing all those illegal aliens to come through. People don't want that. So, and Texas, you know, they've pretty much been Republican forever, but most of the illegals come in through California, Arizona, and Texas. So Arizona seems like it's tipping the other way because they don't, you know, that nobody wants open borders down there.
Right.
The rest of the country up in the north, it really doesn't affect them, except now they're shipping people to those places, but they don't see what is done because they don't live down there. So they're right. And you still have the, you know, military, whoever's overseas. You have, you know, the late voting or whatever it is, mail-ins or whatever it is. I think it's going to be close, even though it doesn't look that way now. You still there, Butt?
Wisconsin, and so on. They looked at their pocketbooks, their bank balances, their credit cards, and they said, no, we're not better. And, I think Harris not doing press conferences, kind of doing these parachuting in, doing these scripted rallies, I don't think that helped her. I think voters really wanted a connection, especially after the 2020 pandemic election where, Joe Biden basically campaigned from his basement. Harris did a version of that. And the voters seem to be rewarding Donald Trump here.
So, AG, let's just transition briefly here to some of these Senate contests and some of these Western battlegrounds as well here. We're getting results in on the Arizona Senate race. Let's take this. Ruben Gallego up over Lake 53-46 right now with 49% of estimated votes counted. If we can also bring up the Montana Senate race too between Sheehy and Tester, just so we can get a good lowdown of where that race stands at the moment. Let's take that. There you see Sheehy up 56 over Tester's 42 there with about 5% of estimated votes counted. So Montana still has a kind of long way to go there. But these are the Senate races to watch still now that we're moving our way westward across the country, though some of the other races, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Ohio, those Senate seats, they're still in the mix. They haven't been called yet, at least by the Associated Press, AG.
Yeah, and, Republicans need to flip a couple of these. And even if you go back to 2022, they're saying that 24 would be their year for the Senate. And they've got a lot of opportunities. And I think as Trump rises or falls, so too do the Senate candidates. If you look at the state polling that came out in the various swing states where you had Senate races, the candidates will run a couple points behind Trump. So if Trump can win these states by 2 or 3 points, that's very good for a Dave McCormick or Eric Hovde or somebody like that. I think if you look at Montana, I think, Trump's strength is going to lift Sheehy in that race. I don't think Kari Lake has a shot per se. The polls I saw of Arizona had a lot of split ticket between Trump and Gallego. But, overall, if Republicans can pick off a couple of these Democratic seats, then it's a very good night because they probably will take the House also. So you can see a unified Republican Washington, D.C. next year, and Donald Trump would be able to enact a lot of this policy agenda that he was thwarted, from doing during his first term if he's elected.
So, AG, if we can come back onto my screen here, I want to just show the Senate map. The balance of power is behind me here, and this is giving us a look at how this thing is shaping out. So right now, and obviously you need 50 seats in order to have control of the Senate if the president is Donald Trump, because that would mean that J.D. Vance would be the tiebreaker. That would give Republicans control. That would mean they would only need 50. Now, if they want control, regardless of who wins the presidency, they would need 51. Let's tease this out, AG. There are quite a few competitive Senate races around the country: Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin. As you mentioned, it's not as competitive in Arizona as it once was. Montana, we are seeing that Jon Tester has a steep uphill battle. Is there really any path to the Democrats maintaining control in the upper chamber at this point?
Not with the way this map is going. It's going to be very difficult. And I think you would need for the Senate candidates to really outperform Harris in state after state. My guess right now is 52, 53 Republican seats. And that's really what you want if you're the Republicans, because, it's very hard to maintain a unified caucus in the House or the Senate. So you want that margin to be a couple points higher than just a 50-50 split with Vance casting a bunch of tie-breaking votes. It's really early to tell with these Senate races, but I'm less confident in those than I am in Trump right now. But, I really do think Trump is the rising tide that will lift some of these Senate candidates up.
Okay, so in the meantime, AG Gankarski with the New York Post, we're going to have to leave it at that. We do appreciate it. We are nearing the top of the hour. Austin Westfall here in the Live Now newsroom with me. But in the meantime, though, speaking of some of these Senate races, I want to put up some of the results. Let's go back to Virginia right now. Take a look at this. Democratic incumbent Tim Kaine there leading over his Republican challenger, Hung Kao. You see there. We also have Tim Kaine speaking live right now to his rally group of supporters. Let's listen
embody and by the progress that you've demonstrated. So it's going to be a long night. We're going to have, however all these results go outside Virginia, we're going to have a lot of work to do. We're going to have a lot of work to do to promote more peace in the world. We're going to have a lot of work to do to create this economy that is not just for a few, but for the many, and expand healthcare options and protect reproductive freedom and fight gun violence and battle for a cleaner environment. And there's so much work to do, but we've shown in Virginia that if we link arms, we can walk side by side. We can andar con la gente. We can walk side by side with people and make progress. So thank you so much for putting your faith in me. And you may or may not, over the course of the next 6 years, agree or disagree with this or that, but I won't embarrass you. I won't let you down. I won't cause you to lose a moment of sleep. And we will keep moving Virginia and this country forward. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And then watch TV very late, and we're gonna go win, right? We're gonna go win.
All right, you're just listening in there to Tim Kaine, wrapping up some of the speaking to reporters. You can see there the 52-48 margin right now, not officially called by the AP, but a happy crowd on the hand there in that state of Virginia. All right, we're following it all here on Live Now from Fox. A change of anchor. I'm Andy Mack now in the desk, supplanting Andrew Kraft after a great election night for him, covering all the latest. All right, let's continue on. Let's line away for a quick 2-minute break. We have more polls closing here at the top of the hour as it gets closer to 8 o'clock Pacific time. We'll be right back.
To be higher. The number on the left has to be higher. So we're going to lock this in. Let's go through here and just watch. Every county, she's underperforming. With a lot of the vote, there's still some vote out, but in almost every county, she's underperforming. Again, this is the black belt, high proportion of African-American voters here, and she's underperforming. Not a population center, but if she wants to win North Carolina, she has to be doing better there. I know you were asking about Virginia. Savannah, let's take a look at Virginia. We haven't called Virginia yet. And if we, just to give you context, the last two elections, it came kind of close to 2016, about 4 percentage points, 4 or 5 percentage points. In 2020, Biden grew that lead much more. It was about 10 points there. Tonight, here's where it's at. 77% of the votes in. There's about a 2% spread. I'm being told by our politics desk, a lot of the vote that is out is still in the Northern Virginia suburbs. This is the Democrats' sort of their sweet spot where they're going to drive up the votes. Also, Richmond County, a lot of African-American voters there too that could possibly vote Democratic. But listen, Republicans have been making inroads in there as well. We can take a quick gander. How much time we have? About a minute? 2 minutes. Now we're going to say goodbye. We'll come back. We'll dig into those northern suburbs in just a minute, Savannah.
Let's do, because,
Yeah.
northern suburb resident Chuck Todd says you can't count.
We're waiting on that vote.
You're
Right.
waiting on that vote. But I want to go to Mark Lauder on this. Also, I think a Washington, D.C. former area resident. So you get to weigh in on this too, and you too, Senator. I mean, would you have expected that Virginia would take this long to call? I mean, is this concerning? Does it give you any other trend lines?
No, I mean, I saw a lot of energy, and I live in Northern Virginia as well. I've seen a lot more Trump signs in people's yards where 4 years ago, 8 years ago, you would have never dared put one up there. So I think there was a little more of an emboldened activity, but you know you're not going to win that area. I think this does point to what we were talking about we see going on in Philadelphia, which we see going on in some of the other Charlotte areas. She's underperforming in the metro areas, which is where she needs to overperform.
I think when it's all counted, when everything comes in Northern Virginia, and Chuck's not here, so I'm a little nervous. But I think she'll end up winning Virginia by a comfortable margin. And I think when you actually analyze the data, what you're going to see is there was more enthusiasm in the rural areas of Virginia than there was for Biden. I mean, I think we need to start saying out loud that, what is different between Joe Biden and Kamala Harris? Everybody thinks they're exactly the same on policies, but one is a woman of color and the other is a white man that everybody was really comfortable with, that were moderates and knew him well and had known him for decades. So I think you're seeing more Trump support in some of the areas where Biden could cut in. And you're not, but Virginia's going to be fine. She's going to win Virginia.
But you might see that maybe in like a Lackawanna County or something in Pennsylvania, like that same dynamic that you're talking about.
Yeah.
We shall see. Okay. We want to pause just a moment. We've got a lot more to get to. Top of the hour, we're going to have the big poll closings in California. Got an election alert. Poll closing in about 20 seconds or now. So there'll be some biggies out there to talk about.
Yeah, you see California, Idaho, Oregon, Washington. Those will all be closing here in about 10 seconds. And then, of course, we'll have the latest characterizations. We're going to pause for a moment while some of our East Coast stations go to their local news now. And welcome back. At the top of the hour, 11 o'clock hour here in the East, NBC News can project that Kamala Harris will win in the state of California. 54 electoral votes. In the state of Idaho, NBC News projects Donald Trump will win and take those 4 electoral votes in Idaho. Here's the map where it moves in the road to 270. Donald Trump with 214. Harris now with 145. So things certainly becoming a little more interesting as the evening progresses.
Okay, for the 11 o'clock poll closing,
And
we
that
have a couple of
California
on-call
was
races,
huge.
Oregon and Wisconsin. We just called
Yep,
California.
54.
Now let's
I
go
knew
to
it
our
was a big
battlegrounds.
number.
Pennsylvania to
Wow.
call 11 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock
What's
in the
Washington
West.
looking like,
Same
Buck?
story in Michigan, too close
I
to
can't
call
see.
at this hour, with about a third of the vote
Hold up,
counted
let me
there.
check.
In Wisconsin, it is too close to call. You knew it would be a tight election. The polls all showed it, and that's certainly being borne out tonight. 60% of the vote in there. In Georgia, it is too close to call, getting closer to that final number there, but the margins are just too close to make a call in that presidential race. Same thing in North Carolina. In fact, it's too early to call. We are still awaiting vote there. In Arizona, let's go out west. We've got 2 battlegrounds out west. We've got Arizona and Nevada. Polls closed there about a couple of hours ago. Well, 2 hours for Arizona, last hour for Nevada. Both of these too early to call. And Tom Yamas over at the board. And we talk about Arizona. We haven't given its due tonight in Maricopa County. And don't forget the great county of Pima County, home to Tucson, Arizona.
And give some credit to Arizona. Already 50% of the vote is in. I mean, they're doing their job there. So congrats to them. Maricopa County, this is the big swing county that we're going to be watching here. This is going to be about 60% of the vote in the state of Arizona. So important. If you want to win Arizona, you got to win Maricopa. You can see Trump won it in 2016. Biden won it in 2020. Tonight, with 50% in, Kamala Harris is on top right now. Phoenix, one of the fifth largest city in the country, one of the fastest growing areas in the country. Something else interesting about Maricopa, it's not so much people from other states moving there for the jobs. It's people from all over Arizona moving to this area. You have Mesa, Tempe, Scottsdale, a lot of growth there. We're going to go to this other county here, Pima County. Savannah, you've heard of this county? Maybe, maybe not. 50% of it is in. This is Tucson. This is a Democratic stronghold, but it's not like Cambridge, Massachusetts, right? It's not 60-40 split. It sometimes is, but not really. Tonight, she's doing well. She's turning out the vote there, about 30% Hispanic in Pima County as well. It's on the border. Just next door to Pima is Yuma. Now, this is majority Hispanic, an interesting county, but this is a place where Republicans can run up the score. Trump overperforming right now. Only 35% of the vote is in. Arizona, still very, very early, 11 electoral votes. As we get information, we'll sort of dissect it and figure it out, but it's going to be a while before we call Arizona, Savannah, as you know.
All right. Thank you, Tom. We got our panel here. We got Chuck. We got Savannah Sellers over here. Chuck, what are you making of what we're seeing, what the trend lines are?
There's a reason why there's anxiety in the Harris camp and growing enthusiasm and optimism. I mean, all the trend lines, this looks a lot more like 2016 to me than it does 2020. And you're seeing whether it's rural turnout surging up, but we've had to up our projection of total turnout in Georgia than what we saw. And as we've been saying, and we've seen this, higher turnout was always going to be better for Trump. Not, there's always been this pre-Trump era of conventional wisdom used to be Democrats would perform better, but he has the sort of the occasional voter. And it looks like, and we're actually even seeing evidence of what I call these shotgun Trump voters. They come in, they vote Trump, and they leave because there's about 100,000 vote gap. I mean, the Democratic Senate candidates in the blue wall are all in better shape right now than Harris.
And did Republicans crack the code of early voting and finally glomming onto that, even though Donald Trump is sending a separate message?
Well, one might argue now, if you look at the 3 Trump elections, 1, he obsessively made sure people didn't vote early. 2, he didn't. 1 was at 16, and then it's this one. So you may be onto something, but I do think the bigger story is their ability to expand the electorate. He used to have a ceiling of about 47, 48. That's not the case tonight. He expanded it another point or 2. That's significant. As we know, in a razor-thin environment, even if you're just adding 50,000 to your voter rolls, well, that's the difference between winning and losing. Half the blue wall. I heard your Dallas Cowboys thing. I mean, there you go, right?
I mean, do it again?
Yeah, I mean,
it also works for Lambeau Field. That the last 4, literally,
a better stadium to pick. You don't want to have a losing team.
Yeah. Oh my God. Here we go.
Yeah.
No, just that our elections. Our last election was decided by 80,000 voters in 4 states that would.
But can we also remember one other thing here? Because she was trying to do something as a sitting vice president that had never been done before. Succeed an unpopular president. Okay? Hubert Humphrey tried to do this, and he came 1 percentage point short. It was a very close election. The electoral vote wasn't close, but it was a very close election. But he came up short. Al Gore tried to do this. While Bill Clinton's presidency was popular, Bill Clinton, the individual, was not. We all know he came up 537 votes short, as Lester will tell you over and over again. So the last sitting vice president to win was George H.W. Bush, with an outgoing president that had a 60+ approval rating. He was at 41%. I mean, that is, you are asking somebody to overperform in a way that we may find out was politically impossible.
This sounds a little bit like a postmortem, so I want to make sure
No, and I don't think we're there.
We have not called.
And let me give you the view
any
from the
of
Harris
races.
campaign.
And by the way, they know if they win, it's going to be like this. Like their path is razor thin.
That's exactly what they're saying. There's this new memo that is out now from the chair of the Harris campaign that was sent to staffers, obtained by our Monica Alba and our team that covers the Harris camp. And this is exactly the point, right? Which is why I wanted to jump in here on this. They say that the closeness of this race is what we prepared for all along. They still see data trickling in from Sunbelt, but all along they knew it was going to be blue wall. I mean, listen, to a degree, of course, this is what they're going to say, but they say they think they're still feeling good about Pennsylvania, overperforming turnout in Philadelphia and some of these areas. In Michigan, they say there's still a lot of vote to come in. In Wisconsin, there's still a lot of vote remaining. General O'Malley Dillon says in this memo, we've been saying for weeks this race may not be called
tonight. I'm going to interrupt here because we do have an NBC News projection in the state of Oregon. NBC News projects that Kamala Harris will win in Oregon when the votes are counted. Here's where there's the breakdown right now. 220,000 vote difference, 45% of the vote in. But again, Kamala Harris, the projected winner there. 270, you see it there on the 114 for Donald Trump, Harris with 153. The big prizes still no. Continue to wait.
Interesting that that memo is focusing on the blue wall. That's all but saying they're not expecting a North Carolina victory or a Georgia or.
Those are two states. I'm just looking at this on my computer. I don't see either of those two states mentioned here. They do talk about Nevada and Arizona. It's going to be a bit, but the bottom line is they feel like this race is not going to come into focus until the early morning hours.
The fascinating thing about what Hallie just read, Chuck says this feels like 2016. That's almost verbatim a memo that we got in 2016 saying we're focused on the blue wall. Everyone's focused on the blue wall. No one panic. And this, we have a lot more vote to count. So I want to be very cautious in saying this, but tonally, it is fascinating that that is the message that they're sending.
Well, not for nothing. They did their last rally, Kamala Harris in Philadelphia on the
whole
eve
last
of
day.
the election.
All she did was focus on
which is
CA.
exactly what
They had their eye on the
in
ball. I mean, you
2016.
can't say, right, they didn't do that in 2016, right? She was doing Arizona, she was doing Texas, and she
But
sort
the
of,
night before was in Philly.
true, but they sort of didn't do the blue one. To their credit, I mean,
Yeah.
she lived in Pennsylvania, but I'll tell you this, we'll see. There's probably a lot of people wondering who should be the running mate? Who should be on this Democratic
We
ticket?
had that discussion.
Yeah.
That some people will, if
It'll
she
be-
loses Pennsylvania, there'll be a lot
And if
of.
that's the only state, right? That'll be
If-
the hand wring.
But because Josh Shapiro is a very popular
Right.
Democratic governor who was on the short list for vice president. Let's bring Savannah Sellers into this. I mean, what are you reading out of the exit polls? Are you seeing any trend lines? I know you've got your brief. You really look at young voters and you've got your finger on the pulse there. What stands out?
Absolutely. I'll start with some numbers and then give you some anecdotal information. First, let's talk about first-time voters. This is not just young voters, but that's 57% of these first-time voters are under the age of 30. They are breaking for Trump. That is a major reversal from 2020. 53% for Trump right now, 46% for Harris. Back in 2020, 64% went for Biden. Something that I've been tracking, and I've been even watching it tonight on apps like TikTok, on apps like Instagram, when you just talk about like who's popular, who do people like? The Harris campaign had such a robust internal social media play. They had this team of 20-somethings. They had very little oversight. They were allowed to kind of post what they wanted, react in real time to trends, to the news cycle.
We
The Trump
remember Brat
campaign-
Summer and the whole Brat
They
scene from the
co-opted
Harris
that
campaign,
immediately,
right?
exactly, which by the way is a compliment to say Brat now. But for the former president, there wasn't so much going on internally. It was not as robust. He had this sort of grassroots organic catch on TikTok. I heard so many young people say to me in a positive way also, he is a meme. His things travel far. It's objectively funny when you see this information. So many young people, therefore, on these apps were served content straight from and straight about the former president. And we are hearing so much right now. I'm hearing that in lines in Arizona. Gotti was mentioning that earlier. It's so much. It was because I heard him on a podcast. It was because of this thing I saw on TikTok. I also heard from a voter in almost every single swing state and multiple in several of them, including Pennsylvania, voters who were eligible in this age group to vote in 2020 who did not. And they came out tonight to vote for the former
I'd be
president.
so interested. He's winning the youth vote in these exit polls. I'd be fascinated to see what the gender breakdown is there too, because this poll with young men, and that was a concerted effort by the Trump campaign, and the Joe Rogan and the bro wave is
I have
seems to be
two
real.
Gen Zers, okay? I have one who votes and one who's going to be voting next year. One in each gender, and I see it with their friends. You see it. It's real. This gap, this is not about Trump and Harris. There is a growing cultural gap, if you will, between young men and young women.
I have
It
that number
is
too,
really
if you
there.
want it. The gender gap on this first-time men, Trump 62%, Harris 36%. First-time women, the gap is less here. Trump 46%, Harris 53%.
Yeah,
so
I
that
mean-
young men turnout is real.
Well, people who thought that young women would be voting in droves for Kamala Harris, especially because of reproductive rights. I mean, that exit poll does not suggest that.
Absolutely.
It doesn't, and this goes back to what Chuck has been saying, which is that the person who ultimately winds up winning this war of the sexes is the candidate who does a better job appealing to the weaker gender for them, whoever is weaker for them. And so we've seen Trump not only clearly energize, drive up young men of various different racial backdrops, but also chip away at Vice President Harris's lead. I mean, her lead among women continues to be, based on what we're seeing so far, less than his lead with men.
The gender gap is interesting, but also as we've alluded to here on the table, the education gap is also becoming such an interesting storyline here as Chuck talks about kind of a realignment in this moment and where we are. That's another thing to be watching for tonight. Again, it is 11:11 Eastern time, but there's still plenty of vote to come
I
in.
want to go to Tom right now. Tom, I'm looking at Wisconsin. Looks like 62% 50% of the vote in there. You're picking up some things. Share them with
Yeah,
us.
too close to call right now. Trump on top 50%. The difference is 39,000. Remember, the last two elections in Wisconsin, presidential elections, 20,000 votes was the difference between both candidates here. We want to go back to Madison, the capital of Wisconsin, Dane County. This is also the site of the University of Wisconsin as well. 92% of the vote in. Harris doing a little better than when we last checked in with her. But again, she's slightly underperforming Biden. She still has time to catch up. There's still 8% of the vote that's out. We can actually know exactly how much of the vote is out. About 30,000 votes remain there. So maybe she picks up the margins there. We also want to talk about Milwaukee. This is the biggest population center in the entire state of Wisconsin. Right now, 54% of the vote is in. So a lot of that vote is still out. It's probably going to be a little bit later till we can call Milwaukee by itself. Biden was at 69. She's down about 2 to 3 points. Again, this would be concerning for Democrats. But look, there's still a lot of vote out in Milwaukee. Door County, if you've been following the presidential race at all, everyone's been talking about Door County in Wisconsin. It's this peninsula that shoots out into Lake Michigan. The last 6 statewide elections, presidential elections, I should say, they've picked a winner. This is a good sign for Kamala Harris. She's on top there, overperforming Biden just slightly. 95% of the vote is in. Again, Door, if we bring it out to past elections, it almost always picks the winner in the state of Wisconsin. So that's a good sign for her because it's a bellwether. I do want to check in some of these Democratic strongholds. Eau Claire, 92% in, kind of performing at the same level as Biden. That's good news for her. She wants to keep it there. We don't have any data there. What else we have? I think here in La Crosse, this is another Democratic stronghold, 92% in. Biden was at 53. She's 55, I should say. She's slightly underperforming. So listen, still a lot of vote. Let me see how much vote is still out. Still about 40% of the vote. But here's what's tough for Democrats in Wisconsin. Of the battleground states, each of those blue wall states is different. But of all the battleground states, Wisconsin is the whitest. So they can't drive up the margins with at least African-American voters and some Latino voters that are going to stay loyal to the Democrats in this election. What they can do, there's about 100,000 college students in the state of Wisconsin, and they usually fare better, much better with those university students. We're going to have to wait and see, as we say right there, too close to call.
All right, we got a big projection to give right here. This is the Ohio Senate race. It was a hotly contested race. Bernie Moreno, the car dealer, Republican, will pick up that seat, unseating the incumbent Sherrod Brown. This is quite a moment because, barring any unforeseen circumstances, it appears that Republicans, with that victory, will take control of the United States Senate. Again, it's not an official projection at that moment, but if things happen as expected, it would look like a two-seat gain here in the Senate. And so this is a hugely consequential vote here. Sherrod Brown, in a red state, was fighting for his political life. He's pulled that rabbit out of the hell out a few times, but not here tonight.
3 times, Savannah. And he has been someone who's been very adept at straddling that line, reaching out to working class voters throughout his state. His father was a doctor, grew up in Mansfield, really had that working class appeal. And yet this Trump-backed candidate, Bernie Moreno, a car dealer, able to topple him tonight. Again, we've been looking for ticket splitters. Didn't find one here in the state of Ohio. Again, this in line with what we've seen, which is that ticket splitters have been diminishing.
He only overperformed, Sherrod Brown only overperformed Harris by about 2 points. He needed to overperform about 4 or 5. But this is no longer about, Democrats knew they probably weren't going to hold the Senate. The question was, can they limit the Republicans to 52? Because if they can limit them to 52, then you can find 2 or 3 seats to pick up in the 2026 midterms. But if it gets to 53 or 54, right, which is very possible tonight. I mean, they could. They've got Montana, which Republicans are favored. They've already held their 2 vulnerable seats. Nebraska's sitting out there, and it's really is a coin flip race right now. That's a unique situation. But they could get to 53 or 54, which could put the Senate out of reach for Democrats for 4 years. So at this point tonight, it's about whether Democrats can hold enough of their seats this cycle so they actually have a shot at winning back the Senate, can be competitive in 2026.
Sherrod Brown way outspent Bernie Moreno in Ohio, too. Just dumped a ton of money, pro-Democratic allies in the state of Ohio. But remember why the Senate matters, not to give a civics lesson here, right? But the Senate can act in some ways as the brakes or the accelerator for whoever ends up in the White House. They can either get a president's policies moving to a degree if the House is the same party, or not, right? And that's what this comes down to here is how much, if it is Donald Trump in the White House and a Republican Senate, what could they do for his policies? If it is Kamala Harris in the White House and a Republican Senate, how does that interplay work when it comes to some of the issues?
I have to say the House is much more important, though, at this point. If the Democrats are not going to win the White House, they have to have that. I mean, if you win the White House, you want your party to have that. If you're going to not have a chamber, don't have the Senate. It's the House you really worry about because the House has subpoena power.
Yeah.
And so if the House is of the same party, you can navigate Washington a lot easier. The Senate's not easy, but you can find bipartisan coalitions in the Senate.
And this is what the House looks like right
now.
now.
The House, at this point, whoever wins the presidency, you want your party to have, because if you don't, then it's subpoena, and then you can be tied up. Your entire agenda can get tied
But
up.
unlike the Senate,
Correct.
we're not talking about the House tonight in almost.
No doubt, we might not be talking about the House until we go to Savannah's for Thanksgiving. And even then, it may be the Friday after.
At your own risk. I think y'all know how I cook. But I mean, the House is not expected to track the presidential. And
Correct,
so the
because
Senate,
of New York and California.
Yes, exactly. And we'll be waiting New York and California. Some of these tight races, it could be weeks. It was weeks in 2020. But I mean, the prospect is there. If are we going to have divided government?
right.
As Americans have so often chosen divided government, they seem to like it. Will
Chosen
we
or
have
stumbled into it.
Yes.
Well,
Who knows?
and remember, Democrats only need 4 seats to take back control of the House. And so they like their chances there. What's so interesting is that we're covering all of these various battleground states, Pennsylvania, and all of the blue wall states. The House is really going to be won and fought in New York, in California. So it's a very different terrain. And again, could be over a week, if not longer, before we know.
Let's turn to NBC's Garrett Haake. He's at Trump headquarters in West Palm Beach, Florida. Garrett, what's the former president doing now? And I'm wondering if there's been any reaction to what appears could be a change of power in the Senate.
Not to that specifically, Lester, but let me set the scene for you here just to get the lay of the land down here in South Florida, because some of this will matter later on tonight, perhaps. We are in West Palm Beach right now at the Convention Center, which is the giant party headquarters media center for the Trump campaign tonight. Donald Trump is across the Intercoastal Waterway at this hour at Mar-a-Lago, his home and private club, where for a portion of the night he was doing, I think, what many people sort of imagine candidates do on election night, meeting with advisors, watching the returns come in, checking the numbers. At some point this evening, according to multiple sources who are there and have laid eyes on him, he has transitioned into essentially party mode already, down in the ballroom at Mar-a-Lago, shaking hands, thanking supporters, participating in the celebration that has begun among his closest supporters, his family and friends, despite a race that remains uncalled. I'm also told, NBC News can also report, that he's in discussions with his aides and advisors about when he might make the trip across the bridge here to West Palm Beach to give some form of speech tonight. Now, we have been asking him about this day after day. Would he declare victory early? Would he rule out the possibility of declaring victory early? We all remember him doing exactly that in 2020 when so much of the vote remained to be counted. He has refused to take an early declaration of victory off the table, and it's our understanding now that conversations are underway for him to make some kind of address here tonight, regardless of where we are on the path to 270 votes.
All right, Garrett, thank you so much. And we're joined now by podcast hosts John Lovett and Dan Pfeiffer, both White House veterans. I believe we have them right now. Oh, not yet. We're going to go to, that they're coming up.
We're going to go to Peter Alexander.
Peter Alexander, for get the view from the Harris headquarters. It sounds like Donald Trump is talking about coming out and saying something. What are you hearing from the Harris campaign?
That's 3,000 votes. Less than that. Yeah, well, I always defer to the Pop Save America guys. If they want to go, you'll let me know when they're ready. But we are waiting to hear, of course, from Kamala Harris at some point over the course of this evening. No indication when that would happen. Some early indications it might happen in the course of this hour. No confirmation on that at this time. We'll keep you posted as we know. I will tell you, though, in the course of the last 15 minutes, NBC News did obtain a memo that was sent out by the chair of the Harris campaign, Jen O'Malley Dillon, the woman who orchestrated Joe Biden's victory in 2020. This was sent to staff, and it gives you a sense of where they are heading in into this evening. They expect nothing will be determined until late into the night, and certainly they say they're going to be at this again tomorrow. But as she notes in this memo again, she says that they have always said that the clearest path to 270 electoral votes lies through the blue wall states. And here's what she says specifically about Pennsylvania. She says that we overperformed turnout expectations in Philadelphia and overperformed in our early vote expectations in Bucks County, one of those key collar counties, those key suburbs of Philadelphia. She says we don't have election day results from Philadelphia, but we do know that we overperformed turnout expectations there and have seen especially high turnout in places with non-white and student populations. One thing they're keeping a close eye on right now. About Michigan particularly, they say the city of Detroit won't be reporting out until roughly midnight, but that they have seen strong turnout from early vote and election day voting in other parts of the state. And finally, in Wisconsin, where they're keeping a close eye on that blue wall, that they do not expect complete results from Wisconsin until tomorrow morning between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. But the biggest takeaway perhaps from this memo is the sense that as the chips start falling, it appears that they are leaning heavily into the blue wall, which started and may be ending as their best path to victory here. In spite of some numbers that show they still have some ground to make up, there's still a lot of data out there. And that's where, at least according to her memo, which effectively said goodbye to the staff for the night, said we'll do it again late into the night and start again strong in the morning. That's where they are as this night heads toward midnight.
All right, Peter, thank you. Now, without further ado, let's go to the hosts of Pod Save America, Democrats John Lovett and Dan Pfeiffer, both White House veterans. And Dan, I know you to be a number cruncher, and I wonder what you're thinking about the numbers that you're seeing. You just heard what the Harris campaign is saying, but the vibe check is that this path is narrowing significantly and that it's blue wall or bust at this point for Kamala Harris.
Yeah, that seems right. And when you look at the numbers, it's very clear that Trump is overperforming in rural counties, and Harris is overperforming in suburban counties. And what is going to maybe the deciding factor here is primarily going to be what is the turnout and the vote margins coming out of Milwaukee, Philadelphia, and Detroit. And if they are what we think they are, then she has a very clear, albeit narrow, but clear path to be the next president of the United States.
John, let me ask you about what we've been observing. Young voters, particularly male voters, who seem to be breaking for Trump and him, in fact, winning the youth vote, according to our exit polls. Does that surprise you? What's your take on that dynamic?
That would be surprising. I think that's another reason to drink. But I do think that I think
drinking
it's
alone,
pretty
Ron.
early. I think that's fine. That's fine. I think it's pretty early to be drawing conclusions based on the exits and trying to figure out what happened with specific demographics. I think where we're at is this was always going to be close. It is close right now. I think there was some hope based on vibes that perhaps this wouldn't be as close based on some late polling and some late momentum and a terrible event at Madison Square Garden. Could we hope that maybe this night wouldn't be as long? And the answer is no. The polls largely were showing a very tight race, and that's what we're kind of living through.
Dan, do you think it will ultimately come down to Pennsylvania? I mean, that certainly has been what's been telegraphed for all of these months.
It is the essential state, because if Georgia and North Carolina, she does not win, and there's still a lot of outstanding vote in Georgia. It's once again a narrow path. But if those do not end up in her column, there is no math without Pennsylvania. You can replace Wisconsin with Arizona. You can replace Michigan with Arizona and Wisconsin, but you need Pennsylvania. And so it will come down to Pennsylvania.
All right, Dan Pfeiffer, John Lovett, thanks for your time. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
And we have another call to make. I believe we're going to get a state of Washington presidential call. Let's see where we are. NBC News now projecting that Kamala Harris will win the 12 electoral votes in the state of Washington. Here's how it breaks down right now, a difference of about 473,000 votes. In the road to 270, that leaves Harris with 165, 214 for Donald Trump down. Let's go to Republicans' Mike Dumke, White House Communications Director under former President Trump, and Sarah Fagan, a former aide to George W. Bush. Mike, first of all, give me your thoughts here. We've had no calls in battleground states so far. Is this a matter of viewing pieces through a microscope right now to try to understand where this is going?
Well, it sounds that way from the Harris campaign, but I want to stick with the vibe comment John Lovett just made.
because I really do think that what we're seeing now is this coming to fruition, this vibe versus issues election that we've had. The Harris campaign really put on the vibes, the joy, and all of that. And I think the Trump campaign tried to stick to issues, immigration, inflation, instability around the world. And if you look at the exit polls that you all have been talking about today, you really see that Americans think that the country's on the wrong track. We think the economy, we were better off 4 years ago than we are today. And when you look at the way Harris tried to distance herself from Biden, I think this all came down to whether she'd be successful with that, and it looks like she wasn't.
Hey, Mike, let me just ask you to bear with me for a second, because we have another projection we're going to put up here on the screen. And this is the state of Connecticut. NBC News projecting that Kamala Harris will win in Connecticut when all the votes are counted. 7 electoral votes. There is the breakdown right now, about a 10-point difference between the two of them. And here's where it takes us on the road to 270. Donald Trump standing at 214. Harris now with 172 electoral votes. We'll get back to our conversation. Sarah, let me turn to you. You've heard a little bit about this memo now with this campaign memo. What do you make of it?
Well, I think it's a campaign doing what it can to try to keep hope alive. Look, I don't see any good news for Democrats in these results. Donald Trump is running about a point or a point and a half ahead of where he was in 2020. And in these counties, in these blue wall counties that 75% of the vote is in, and Kamala Harris is running behind in these urban areas by 1 or 2 points compared to where President Biden performed. You look at that coupled with Donald Trump's overperformance with Hispanic voters, with young voters. I don't think they have a lot to hang their hat on. And it's not over. There's votes to be counted. We should point out that these blue wall states tend to be red mirage. They go red and then they tend to go, the race narrows as these big urban areas come in later. But when you just look at the underperformance of Kamala Harris and the overperformance of Trump, it's going to be pretty hard, I think, for her to catch him.
Yeah, the Harris team is saying they believe they overperformed in Philadelphia. Does that give you pause?
I don't see where they're saying that. Now they're looking, I'm sure, at precinct analysis, and we're looking at a county total. So we should give that caveat. But Joe Biden got 80% of the vote in Philadelphia County, and she's not running at 80%. I think the last I looked was at 77 or 78%. So that's a pretty significant difference when a race is as close as it is.
All right, Sarah and Mike, thanks to both of you. Tom Yamas has more from the big board on Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia, but I also want to give us just sort of a vibe check of where we are. It is still very early in the night, right? And even though people may be claiming they've won certain states yet, we haven't called any of the battlegrounds here at NBC News. And a reminder, Harris's easiest path is to hold the blue wall. If she wins Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, remember, she gets to the White House. Even if she loses Georgia, North Carolina, the entire Sun Belt, she still gets there. Let's talk about Georgia, though. Let's find out where we are there in the Peach State. Still too close to call for NBC News right now. 91% of the vote is in, but let's talk about where the vote remains. Look at, okay, the giant circles, remember those giant bubbles? That's the vote that still is outstanding. We're still waiting on this vote to be counted. And we know the exact number. We can estimate the exact number. We think it's going to be about 487,000 votes. There's still almost 500,000 votes out in Georgia, still up for grabs here. Let's make some comparisons here. Remember, I told you Harris has to drive up the vote in the Atlanta metro area. 50% of the vote is going to come from this area right here. First County, Cobb County, she's performing just like where Biden is, slightly better. Fulton County, performing a little bit lower, but slightly, and there's still 7% of the vote out in Fulton, where Atlanta is exactly. Gwinnett County, 80%'s in. Look, she's holding the same marks of where Biden was. She's overperforming in Douglas County as we move further south. Look, she's almost exactly where Biden was, all around the ring counties of Atlanta. That's good news and overperforming in Rockdale County. But if Democrats wanted to expand the map, we're not seeing that. A place like Cherokee, we're going to see if they could make inroads there just north of Atlanta. It touches those ring counties. Trump was at 68% in 2020. Tonight he's at 69%, and they've almost got all the vote counted there. I want to move down, though, because there is something interesting happening in the Black Belt of Georgia. I was talking to you guys about the Black Belt of North Carolina earlier. She was underperforming there. Remember, this was Biden's number. This is her number tonight. Watch as we go around here, okay? These are counties where it's a majority African American, 52%, 50% for Kamala Harris. This is a rural county. Trump is overperforming here. We go to another rural red county, overperforming here. We come down here to Doherty County. She's slightly overperforming Biden there. But again, if she wants to win the state of Georgia, she's got to be doing better than Biden. It seems like she could be doing that in Atlanta. The numbers are good for her right now in the metro region, but it's still really too close for us to call here in Georgia. So guys, I'm going to send it back to you.
Okay, Tom, thank you so much. I want to go to Chuck because, Chuck, we were talking about Donald Trump getting new voters, people that didn't vote in 2020, and those voters breaking for him. And you're seeing some pretty astounding numbers.
Well, you are. It's interesting. Well, first of all, look, Georgia is going to shrink. You got about all of this vote is going to be Democratic vote. She's got to win the remaining probably 2-1. That's like a reasonable thing. I mean, Georgia's probably going to be decided by 4 or 5 digits.
And where the vote is outstanding,
exactly.
you think there's a shot?
I think we might be sticking around Georgia for a little while. Just it does. If you're them, you can't totally write it off. There's a path there. But our pollsters did some noted some comparisons to 2020. Just simply Trump margins. These are not in the battleground states, but it gives you a hint of the possibility Donald Trump could actually win the popular vote if he wins the Electoral College tonight. So, for instance, in Texas, he only won Texas by a little over 5 points in 2020. He's won it by 14 points tonight. In Iowa, it was 8 points. It's nearly 15 points tonight. In Florida, it was 3 points. It's nearly 13 points tonight for Trump. Not only gave you some blue states, Virginia, it was a 10-point Biden victory. It looks like it's going to be somewhere between 2 and 4 this time in Virginia. New Jersey, 15 points Biden. Right now, it's 5 for Harris. Illinois, another state, is little under 10. It was at 17 points for Biden. So Trump has improved his standing in a lot of blue states. We'd seen that in our own polling, but it is why this time we are unlikely to have a split between the popular vote and electoral. Whoever wins the Electoral College is probably going to win the popular vote.
Those are pretty dramatic margins. I mean, we're not nitpicking about a point or two here. You're talking with Texas
5 points, 10
6,
points,
7, 8. I mean, that's
this is the Hispanic shift in the Southeast. It's clear. Florida and Texas, that's the massive Latino shift that we've seen tonight in those 2 states, but it may be spots of it everywhere.
So I'm getting reaction in from Democratic lawmakers, from Democratic operatives. Some are still saying, look, we could still win this thing. We can hold on to the blue wall. And that's absolutely accurate because we're still tracking the vote. But one Democratic lawmaker, sort of to the point that Chuck is making, saying, if this race does not go Kamala Harris's way, this is a moment of reckoning for the Democratic Party. This person saying there needs to be a hard look at what went wrong and potentially really a real passing of the baton when it comes to leadership. And of course, the attention will turn to President Biden. And when he stepped aside, 72% in our exit polls saying the country is headed in the wrong direction. That's the backdrop to all of this. President Biden and this immense dissatisfaction with the direction that the country's headed.
It could be the Democratic Party allowed itself to just organize itself being an anti-Trump party. And in some ways, so focused on creating an anti-Trump coalition, they stopped being a political party, right? To come up with a basic agenda and again, right now, I get what that lawmaker is telling you, because if you look at the whole Biden wasn't a pick of the future. It was a whatever you can do for Trump.
All right, we're gonna pause for a moment to welcome back some of our stations on the East Coast. It is just past 11:30 here in the East. Welcome back to those viewers rejoining us on this exciting night. I'm Lester Holt.
And I'm Savannah Guthrie. Glad you're along with us. This is NBC's election night coverage, and we've started to fill in that map, but those all-important 7 battlegrounds still in gray. We have not called them yet. We've been getting minute-by-minute projections, all leading up to this road to 270, which is the magic number needed to win the White House. So let's go through some of the boards here. This is Pennsylvania at this hour. 79% of the vote in, too close to call. We've talked a lot about the different counties and whether there's enough for Kamala Harris to make up where she's lost in some of the rural areas. Let's go to Michigan, too close to call there as well. but a lot more votes to be counted. In Wisconsin, let's see how much we've got there. About 2/3 of the vote or so, too close to call. In Georgia, we're getting close to a close there, but they do count their votes fast there, and it's 91% in, but we will see what happens. Too close to call. North Carolina, too early to call. We will wait and see what happens there, but again, starting to see 88% of the vote coming in there. Let's go out west. Arizona, too early to call. Polls closed about 2.5 hours ago there. What looks like we have a projected winner. This just came in right now. Okay, North Carolina, Donald Trump is the projected winner. You see the margin there, 136,000. So Donald Trump improved on his margin by back of the envelope math, 50,000 votes there in North Carolina. That's going to be a real disappointment for the Kamala Harris campaign. They had hoped that if North Carolina could be clawed back into the blue column, perhaps that would open up other paths for them out west, the Sun Belt path. It is looking like blue wall or bust. That is where it stands right now, 172 electoral votes for Kamala Harris and Donald Trump in the lead right now.
Let's go to Tom right now and talk about now what this does to Kamala Harris's paths to victory.
Yeah, let's show you real quick how Trump wins, right? How we project that he wins. Robinson right now, 64.9%, 30% in. You can see how Trump's overperforming here. As we go along these rural counties, you can see Trump's numbers are increasing. 63 4 years ago, 66 tonight. We'll keep moving along here. 50%, 53%. So Lester, you asked, how does this affect him in the race for president? Let's go back out to our big board here, the road to 270. When we started out tonight, right, the paths to victory here, Trump had 10, Harris has 9. That's because we just called North Carolina. We can't even remove it anymore. This number before we called North Carolina, Harris had more paths than Trump did. But this is essentially where we started the night. This is the way it ended in 2020, right? He won North Carolina. President Biden had won the rest of the battleground states. But this gives the Republicans and former President Trump some hope. We now move to Georgia. We're going to be looking at the vote in Georgia. But as Chuck mentioned, very, very close in Georgia. And we're going to be waiting on that vote, the full vote to come out of Atlanta in those ring counties right now. But a big win for former President Trump. It's the first battleground we're calling tonight.
All right, Tom, thanks very much.
Remember, there was some late polling in the state that came just over the weekend that suggested that perhaps Kamala Harris was surging in North Carolina, that maybe she was making gains among some of these voters. That is clearly not turning out to be the case. That said, you've seen the reporting from her campaign that they are looking at the all-important blue wall. Of course, the question is, if Georgia goes, and you and Chuck were just talking about Georgia, but if Georgia does end up in the red column, it is Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania.
Well, to that point, the Secretary of State in Georgia, Brad Raffensperger, who people are familiar with from the last election, has said on the record that Trump has an insurmountable lead in Georgia with the number of votes outstanding. So he's the Secretary of State. I think he knows what he's speaking of, but we will continue to watch.
We've got another race to call, another presidential call. This is in the state of Virginia. This call coming a little later than people might have expected, but Kamala Harris will win the 13 electoral votes in Virginia. There's the breakdown right now, 134,000 vote difference, 84% of the vote in. That, of course, goes into the Harris column. Here's where that leaves us, the road to 270. Trump with 230 now, 40 from his goal. Harris with 185 electoral votes.
Okay, let's bring Jen Psaki in, former Biden White House press secretary, and Mark Lauder, who was joining us earlier. Jen, we haven't had a chance to talk to you. I mean, look, it's getting to be a narrower path for Kamala Harris, no question about it. It's the blue wall or bust at this point.
It's math.
Yeah, it's math.
Ultimately, look, I think that Jen O'Malley Dillon email that NBC News obtained that you've talked about a little bit tells you a lot about where the heads are of the people on the campaign.
This is the chair of the campaign.
The chair of the campaign. She was also the campaign manager when Biden won in 2020. And basically, they did not talk about it. I know NBC has not made a call in Georgia, but they did not mention that Georgia is not a part of that email. Neither is North Carolina. You just made a call on that. It's about the blue wall states. And she warns that Arizona and Nevada will take some time. What does become challenging, I think part of the purpose of an email like that is also to buck up the troops inside the team who's been working so hard for months. That's part of it. And also to send that note to supporters. But yes, it becomes, as the path becomes narrower, there's no more margin for error. Or no more margin for something going a different way than you hoped it would. And right now, what the Harris team is doing, which happens on every presidential campaign, as you know as well, is sitting in what you call the boiler room, which is kind of an intense word to use, but that's what it's called. And they're looking at their vote goals in these counties and how the outcome aligns. And you look at everything from, did they get what they needed in the big cities? In Philly, there are some cities that haven't fully come in, so they're waiting for those. But also what the margins are for Trump, which are higher, as you've been reporting, and we've been talking about over at MSNBC, in some of the rural counties, meaning he's getting more votes there that they need to make up for in the cities. So it's a numbers game in each of these states.
But
too.
even in reliably blue states, we're seeing narrowing margins. We just saw it in Virginia. We called it. Kamala Harris won it, but I believe by a smaller margin than she did, or that the Democrats did 4 years ago. I want to show Minnesota right now, which we are calling too close to call. And this is a reliably blue state. Let me show you what the numbers look like, the breakdown. Half of the vote in. It's called too close to call. Again, when you see that wide margin, you were thinking, what are you guys talking about? It's because our decision desk is crunching the numbers. They know where those votes have come from, whether they're reliably Trump districts or reliably a Kamala Harris or a Democratic area of the state. And on that basis, they're saying too close to call. Does that surprise you?
Minnesota is a close state. It often is a close state. It's one certainly that the Harris team would love to have been in their win column earlier. But again, I think for them, what becomes harder and harder is as you get more vote total in, and the path becomes narrower and narrower and narrower, and that's a bit where they are at this moment.
The sitting governor Tim Walz on the ticket, Minnesota's governor Tim Walz,
and a pretty popular governor in Minnesota. And there's a lot of things that bend the mind a little bit if you're the Harris team, including that. I don't know that they're overly worried about Minnesota, but certainly, yes, would have liked to have that and Virginia in their win column earlier.
I've heard a lot from people on the left who have asked over the last several weeks, how can this be a tie? What's your answer?
I would have asked the same question. I mean, I think
under the same scenario.
Because obviously with the economy, with the 2/3 of the American people who think the country's on the wrong track on the immigration, like all of the issues and kind of general polling would suggest that this would be a runaway for the Republican or for the non-party in power. The fact that it's not, I think there's obviously a lot of.
Do you think if any other Republican were on the ticket, you'd have a much greater margins in terms of a Republican victory?
That's difficult to answer because Donald Trump brings out such a passionate base where you might have a problem getting that overperformance in rural areas because he is so animating, especially on the right. Now, he's equally animating on the left, which turns out that opposition.
Well, you might get suburban women on the side of a different kind of Republican.
Jen, has the conversation begun yet about Joe Biden and about the decision to ask him to step aside?
It will begin. It will begin depending on the outcome. And obviously, there hasn't been a race called yet. If this is not a Harris win, that will certainly be part of the discussion. It is. She's run a campaign over the course of 107 days. That is not something we've seen in history. And there'll be lots of questions about exactly that, the timing and the impact of that.
Well, Chuck was bringing up the history. I mean, in terms of vice presidents trying to win the presidency with a unpopular president, he said it's bordering on politically impossible.
And this gets back to something that we talked about. The favorability rating for President Biden is low. And you look at some of these numbers on how people feel about the country right now. And about 3 in 4 Americans in the exit polling say they feel angry or dissatisfied. And that is something that may end up being critical in this race as well.
And one of the things that I think is so notable heading into tonight, I think one of the big questions, would the economy be the top issue, as Mark is talking about, or would reproductive rights, given that abortion is on the ballot in 10 different states, would that be the biggest energizing factor tonight? What we are seeing is that right now it seems like the economy and immigration continue to be the most motivating factors for people.
And I'm almost interested to see, though, because we did see, especially using Florida as the example, it was not close in Florida, whether at the presidential level or with the Senate, but at the same time, they're sending Rick Scott and Donald Trump. Obviously, they barely defeated a constitutional amendment on abortion. So they almost, like we would say split ticket voting with Senate and Congress and president. They kind of split their ticket going, no, I don't like this, but I do like them.
And that's not something that is captured necessarily, because polling doesn't function this way in polling about abortion rights, right? That there are people who could vote for Trump and also vote for protecting abortion rights. Arizona is another interesting state to watch on that front, as you know, Arizona native, because I talked to Senator, or maybe we'll see, Congressman Gallego the other night, and there are people who could be Gallego, Trump, abortion rights voters, which bends the mind a little bit. But that's where maybe we don't entirely understand how the electorate comes down on these issues.
Well,
It
maybe
feels
people
completely
are
for them.
As a political journalist would like to
Yes,
believe.
that's true.
Well, we're just moments away from midnight here on the East Coast. What are you guys doing tomorrow? I'll tell you what you're doing.
Right
The
here.
battleground
Caffeinating.
states, they have not been called yet. Stay with us. We will be right back after a quick break.
Competitive. They only need one more. They only need one more. The Republicans need one more seat to win in order to get to what they need to get to. So, and what we'll say here is Republicans do have 50. So yes, if they win the presidency, what that's going to mean is that they are going to control the Senate. If they get one more, that's going to confirm the fact that they've gotten the Senate. So
Yeah.
let's look at.
Let me cut you off real quick because that was a great breakdown. But we do see Colin Allred now at the microphone after Ted Cruz secured that victory. Let's put this up one more time just to give you a sense of what's going on. Ted Cruz taking it over him. Now the concession speech coming from Colin Allred there in Texas. Let's listen in to him and what he has to say here on Live Now from Fox.
Becoming rarer and rarer. I was inspired to run partly because of what I saw on January 6th. What happened when people lie about a free and fair election because they weren't happy with the results. I said then, and I'll say it now, you can't just be a patriot when your side wins. So tonight, we didn't win, but we will continue to be patriots. Isn't that right? I want to thank every single Texan, every single American who got involved in this race, but especially the folks who knocked on doors, who made phone calls, who gave whatever they could to this campaign. You know, I come from a family where we didn't have a lot of money. And so I know what it means when somebody sends in $5 or $10. It's an act of hope, and I appreciate them. And I really especially want to thank all the incredibly brave Texas women who've come forward and told their stories. Amanda Zarowski, Kate Cox, Lauren Miller, Dr. Austin Denard, Taylor Edwards, I could keep going. There are so many brave Texas women who've told their stories. And Allie and I will never forget them, and we will never stop fighting to overturn this abortion ban here in Texas. I carry 3 little rocks with me that my sons picked out on the playground. They represent my 2 kids and my wife, Allie. My boys are little. They're 3 and 5. I haven't seen them as much as I'd like to, and as for someone who grew up not knowing their father, that's a big deal to me. So I want to say a special thank you to my family, to my mother and father-in-law who have done so much child care.
Yes.
To the folks who mean the most to me. Ran for my boys, and I'm gonna keep fighting for my boys' future and for every Texas kid's future. And I hope y'all will too. There's a quote from Churchill that's been kicking around in my head that I'll probably mess up. But it said that courage is rightly esteemed as the first of human qualities, because as has been said, it's the quality that guarantees all others. You have to have courage. It took courage, and I'm not tooting my own horn here, but it took courage for me to come from a single parent household without a lot of money to the United States Congress. It took courage for these, thank you. It took courage for these Texas women to come forward and talk about the most difficult moment of their lives in front of thousands of people. It took courage for each and every one of you and everyone who got involved in this campaign, to, even though we haven't won here in Texas in some time, to believe in this election and to put everything you had into it. And it's going to take courage for whatever comes tomorrow and the day after. This country is worth fighting for. Understand that. This state is worth fighting for. We are a great country. Nobody needs to make us great again. We are great because we are good. And we are good because that's who we are as a people. And so I don't want to see anybody putting their heads down. I want you to put your shoulders back and your head up and walk out of here tall that you participated in an American election. That's what we do. Because in this country, we don't settle our differences in the streets. We don't settle it with violence. We settle it at the ballot box. And if we don't win, then we dust ourselves off and we come back the next time. Okay? I don't know what's going to happen in any of the other races around the country, but I know this. It's going to require patriots like all of you and people all across our state and our country to stay engaged. This 250-year project of ours is one that is very tenuous. Every generation of Americans is responsible for keeping it going for another generation. We are not going to be the ones who drop the baton. And whatever happens in this election, I want you all to remember who we are. Don't ever lose sight of it. Don't ever let anybody tell you that it's not who we are. And I want to thank you again. God bless you. God bless Texas. And may God continue to bless the greatest country in the history of the world, the United States of America. Thank you so much.
All right, you're just listening in there. Colin Allred, slightly dejected, but he says he will continue to fight for the people of Texas there in favor of Senator Ted Cruz, the incumbent, winning that hard-fought battle in Texas. Of course, it's up again here on Live Now from Fox on election night of what has come to the conclusion. Ted Cruz there by 10 points, 84% counted. The AP calling it in favor of him. I do want to take you out to another Senate race in terms of Minnesota, as Amy Klobuchar, the incumbent there in Minnesota, taking that race, the check mark next to her name over Royce White, nearing 1 million votes in favor of her there in Minnesota as well. So we're following that very, very closely. We're also monitoring several different shots, including in Pennsylvania right now, an election update coming out from there in just a matter of moments. They've had one nearly every hour. Also a live look in Westlake, Ohio, I believe, at Dave McCormick, Pennsylvania, excuse me, Dave McCormick's rally there. So we'll take you out to these in just a little bit. But let's sign away for a quick 2-minute break. We'll be back after this.
What does that mean for the electoral map? Donald Trump has 230 electoral votes. He is 40 electoral votes away from winning. Kamala Harris has 165 electoral votes. She is 105 electoral votes away from winning. Let's see what the states we have not called, where their vote counts are. Pennsylvania. Donald Trump is in the lead there with 51.2% of the vote. Kamala Harris has 47.7% of the vote. Donald Trump is ahead of her by more than 206,000 votes. That's with 83% of the estimated vote in. That's Pennsylvania. Battleground Michigan, Donald Trump up 51.3% of the vote. Kamala Harris has 46.9% of the vote. Donald Trump with a more than 111,000 vote lead with an estimated 44% of the vote in from Michigan. Wisconsin now, Donald Trump in the lead there too. 50.8% of the vote. Kamala Harris has 47.6% of the vote. Donald Trump almost 80,000 votes ahead of her with 3/4 of the vote, 74% of the estimated vote from the Badger State in. Battleground Georgia, Donald Trump is up 50.7%. Harris is 48.4%. Donald Trump more than 118,000 votes ahead of her with an estimated 93% vote in. Arizona, Donald Trump is ahead there too with 49%. Kamala Harris has 49.3% of the vote. More than 700 votes ahead of her right now. They still have about 48% of the count, 52% of the estimated vote in. In Nevada, Donald Trump is in the lead with 73% of the vote. Kamala Harris has 26.2% of the vote. Donald Trump has a more than 10,000 vote, almost 11,000 vote lead. That is with only 2% of the estimated vote in. As we follow these crucial undecided races, we are all already also getting closer to another poll closing. 4 more electoral votes are at stake for the next hour in the heat of the battle to reach 270. So every electoral vote counts. We're just minutes away from voting ending in the reliably blue state of Hawaii. Over to John King now at the Magic Wall. John.
Quick look, you just went through the numbers. Look very quickly. These 3 states, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, will determine the fate of the Harris campaign, whether there's any chance she can come back. As we wait to see those results, I just want to show you something. Bring it up. Remember January 6th, Donald Trump was finished. Even Republicans were running away from Donald Trump. Donald Trump is done as a national politician. I'll show you something. This is overperforming his 2020 performance by 3% or more, right? This is a statewide vote. We're not done with some of these counts out here, so this will change a little bit. But Donald Trump overperforming 2020 after January 6th, 2021. That's the statewide vote. Look at this. Just look at this when you go to full counts. Look at how many counties across America, 994 of the 4,000 plus, 4,600 plus counties and townships, especially up this way, part of the country, they don't call them counties, they call them townships, but in nearly 1,000, 993 right now. This will change as we go through, but Donald Trump is over, look at where they are. He's mostly performing in red areas. His vote is getting higher in the areas where he wins elections. Yes, there are some blue places where he's overperforming. Just look at Battleground, Pennsylvania. Look at all these red counties, places that Trump wins, where he's overperforming by 3% or more what he did in 2020. Then you come out here, let's go up to Battleground, Michigan. These are the decisive states left on the board right now. Look at in the areas, those are his base areas. He's getting more. The same over here in Battleground, Wisconsin. So the former president of the United States, given up for dead, Jake, after January 6th, 2021, is running stronger now than he did in the last campaign.
All right, John King, thank you so much. Every electoral vote counts, and 4 more are on the line right now as polling places are about to close in Hawaii. And we project Kamala Harris will win the state of Hawaii with its 4 electoral votes. Not a surprise. Hawaii, a reliably Democratic vote, but it does mean a pickup of 4 electoral votes for Kamala Harris. Donald Trump has 230 votes away from, has 169 electoral votes. She is 101 votes away from the 270 needed to win. John King.
So Jake, let's look at the map where we are right now, and then we'll go through some of these battleground states where we're still waiting. But just look at the map right now. You see a lot of red, right? So let's look at the 2020 map. You see the blue, right? The blue wall states, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, right? Now watch, this is where we are now. 2024 looks a lot different than 2020. But at the moment, looks pretty similar to 2016. Donald Trump won the blue wall. Donald Trump won North Carolina. Donald Trump won Georgia. Donald Trump won Arizona. The only difference would be Hillary Clinton in 2016 did carry Nevada. Donald Trump leads there right now when you come back to 2024. But it's just, sorry, 2024. Let me come up here and do this, and get this, and you go there at 2024. So that's the one, it's just a dramatic change when you come here. And so Donald Trump is remaking the map again at the moment. And the question is there any way for Harris to come back? Again, we've given Donald Trump North.
The politicians in Olympia have given us high prices, crime, and corruption. It's time for a new sheriff in town.
Out there, 19. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. So can she come back in Georgia to stop that from happening? She's limiting her. If he wins Georgia, her path is so limited. So it's 118,000 votes right now in a state decided 4 years ago by 11,700 votes. Donald Trump with 93%. That's an important number of the vote counted is ahead by nearly 120,000 votes. So you're looking, this is where they would have to be. You can pick up votes elsewhere, but that's where most of the votes are. That's close to half of the state population, right in Atlanta and the metropolitan area around it. So what's out there? Are there live outstanding votes out there? Well, let's take a look. The answer is yes. Let me get rid of the coloring so you don't have to see that. The answer is yes, they're out there. You're at the point now where you're talking about drawing to an inside straight flush. Essentially, you need these votes to come in overwhelming numbers for you. But you do see there's the mathematical possibility. This is why the Harris campaign is on the phone. This is why I assume Donald Trump has not come out yet to say anything, because he's hoping that this one comes off the board as well. You're looking at the math right there. It's possible. So we're waiting for more votes in Georgia. So then you come up, Jake, and we'll look at the blue wall states in a minute to see if any of the math is changing. But if you look at the map right now, you would so much rather be Donald Trump than the vice president.
All right, and we have a projection, John. CNN can project that Kamala Harris will win the Commonwealth of Virginia. Commonwealth of Virginia, with its 13 electoral votes, will go to the Democrat Vice President Kamala Harris. What does that mean for the electoral math? Let's take a look. With 270 electoral votes needed to win, Donald Trump is only 40 behind that with 230. Kamala Harris has 182 electoral votes. Let's bring you a key race alert. Where are we with all the states that we have not projected yet? Pennsylvania, Donald Trump in the lead. 51.3% of the vote, Kamala Harris 47.6% of the vote. Donald Trump has a more than 213,000 vote lead over her with 84% of the estimated vote in from Pennsylvania. In battleground Michigan, Donald Trump up there, 51.2% of the vote. Kamala Harris is 47% of the vote. Donald Trump with a 107,290 vote lead over Harris, but there's still about 55% of the vote that has not been counted in Michigan. A lot of votes to count in Michigan. Wisconsin now, Donald Trump 51% of the vote, Kamala Harris 47.4%. Donald Trump with a more than 92,000 vote lead over Harris. That's with more than 3/4 of the votes counted in Wisconsin, 77% of the vote. In battleground Georgia, Donald Trump up 50.7% to Harris's 48.4%. Donald Trump with a 118,838 vote lead over Harris with 93% of the estimated vote in. In battleground Arizona, Donald Trump up 49.8% to Harris's 49.3%. Donald Trump with a 9,600 plus vote lead. That's with slightly more than half of the vote counted in Arizona, 52%. In Nevada, Donald Trump up 73% to Harris's 26.2% of the vote. Donald Trump with an almost 11,000 vote lead. But that is, again, with only 2% of the estimated vote in Nevada counted. Still a lot of votes to count in Nevada. John?
So, Jake, let's look at, right now, you're looking at the big map. You're seeing all that red. Yes, Virginia, we just projected for the vice president. That one's blue. I'll take a closer look in a minute at that one. But you're looking at the blue wall states. Essentially, Harris's only path is to come back in these 3 states right there. I can give you a conceivable possibility where she only has to come back in 2 of them, but she has to come back in all 3 of them. They have a reasonable path to 270 electoral votes, and it's a problem at the moment, 168,000 votes. I'm told more votes just recently came in Philadelphia, and indeed they did. So now you're up to 76% estimate. This can change a little bit as more votes come in. But you see that, the vice president opening a healthy lead in Philadelphia, which is a building block of a Democratic win in Pennsylvania. The question is it enough? I just showed you Trump was leading. So 78%, 477,000 votes. You go back 4 years ago, it's 81%, and it's 603,000 votes. Remember that, 81 and 603. 78 and 477. Can she move both numbers up when we get the final quarter of the vote? That's the challenge. Because you need that math, forgive me, to overcome that. 168,000 votes in a state that was decided by 80,000 votes. ago and 40,000 votes 4 years before that. That is a big lead in a tight state like Pennsylvania with 85% of the vote. So you're saying, is it just Philadelphia and the suburbs where there are outstanding votes? Again, if you're joining us late, the larger the circle, the more votes that are still outstanding to be counted, the color, the way the candidate who's winning in that area at the moment. And so you still do right here, Philadelphia, Delaware County, Chester County, Montgomery County. There's still some math to be done there. A little bit out there in Allegheny County where we talked to Brian Todd earlier tonight. A little bit up in Erie County, which tends to be very close though. So let's come back and look at this as we come through it. Number one, there are bellwether counties in Pennsylvania. Northampton is one of them. Right now, this county usually picks the winner. In state, as I say that, I'll say its twin is Erie, way over here, not twin geographically. It's twin in that they voted twice for Obama, then for Trump, then for Biden. Erie and Northampton, 2 of the 25 counties that did that. At the moment, the vice president is leading in Erie County. In the last campaign, it was Vigo County, Indiana, and their streak of picking the winner went off the board. We'll see if the two swing counties in Pennsylvania split as this election goes through. But if you're looking at this map right now, 85% of the vote, it's this. That's big. You know, if you're looking at 50,000, 60,000, it's easier to do the math. You're looking at 168,000, the math gets hard. Is it impossible? No. But the question is, when you start coming in here, Chester County's at 81%, large suburban counties where if you get 20 or 30% of the votes still out, you can do some big math. Montgomery County at 68%. As you can see, this is a much more populous county. So you're waiting for the 30% to come in there. The vice president after the gangbusters, probably higher than the percentage she's getting so far. Just check it against President Biden. It's a little below President Biden, which seems pretty consistent when you go through some of these areas across these states. Bucks County is this one here. Yes, I'm in the right place. That's Montgomery. Oh, Bucks has turned red. That's why I couldn't find it, because Bucks has turned red. Only 55% of the vote in. But if this is red at the end of the night, Donald Trump's going to win the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. This is the more blue collar, the more competitive of the 3 collar counties. It's Bucks, Delaware, and Montgomery. Used to be this was all the Democratic, and the others were Republican. The education divide has flipped that one. Montgomery and Delaware are reliably blue, but look at this. Donald Trump, only 5% of the vote in, but look at that, 50 to 49. If you do it there, you go back in time, 51, 48, 47. So Trump's competitive here. It was a 4-point race, a little more than that 4 years ago. But again, in a close battleground state, you want to move the margins, you flip a county. So let's see if that one holds as we go. If you're in the Harris campaign, that particularly makes you nervous. And then you come out here, and again, I just want to pick them randomly. This is where Trump just runs it up. So you're saying, can she come back in the Philadelphia suburbs and in Philadelphia? Mathematically, you can make the case. Common sense-wise, you start after a while to think, he's getting 75% here, he's getting 78% here. It's a little bit of vote out there, not much, not hardly anything left there. Not much left there. But his vote is mostly in. Trump's vote is mostly in when you look at the map. But the question is there really enough there? Let's see what they are here. 94% in Allegheny County. So again, you're getting 59, 30, 20-point gap. 20-point gap. So yeah, that's got to be a lot of votes to come in, and they say they're at 94%. So it's not impossible. I would say we're starting to lean into the. Let's go over into Michigan. This is the state where the vice president was leading early on. Then Donald Trump took the lead. He takes the lead in these states when all these rural counties fill in. Look at them all. And again, you just find him, and he's at 67% here, and he's at 65% here. He's at 66% plus there. Not a lot of people, but when you've got 83 counties and you're winning 60 or 70 of them, that's how it works. And he builds it up there. And then the question is, let's overcome it with huge. Number one, Wayne County, we're still only at 16%. So if you're in the Harris campaign, you're saying, okay, we have almost nothing, or less than 20% from Detroit. So she's getting 62%. She has 88,000 votes. But Jake, if you go back to 2020, again, when Donald Trump won Michigan, he's getting 68. He gets 6,000 votes. So that's sort of our test. When Wayne County gives us more votes, do we get a huge number like that? And is the split, right? Donald Trump at 30%, that's Detroit and the suburbs around it. Donald Trump right now, it's only 20%, it's less 20%, 60%. So, but that, if he's even above 30, right? Anything he's above 30 is an improvement for him. And so we can't see it all on this map. We have to get more granular. But Detroit, is he doing better? Is Trump doing better with the black vote? Or is overall turnout maybe down a little bit from 2020? That's a big question too. And then here, you have Hamtramck. They're not on the map, but they're right here. Those are two very important pockets of Arab American voters that were 200,000 plus voted for Joe Biden 4 years ago. We don't know. We don't have that granular detail just yet, but that was one of the questions. Spent a lot of time on my trips at Wayne State campus, younger voters, a lot of Arab and Muslims at Wayne State, a lot of young progressive students at Wayne State. Did they lose the youth vote there? A lot of the questions. Questions that we'll answer in more detail tomorrow, next week, and the week after that, when we have final results. But if you're 158,000 votes ahead, only halfway in Michigan, I mean, but you're looking at, and like, that's the best of the three blue wall states.
Let's go to Wayne County right now. Let's go to Detroit, where we find Jim Sciutto as an update on the vote count there. Jim.
Jake, there have been a lot of questions and some consternation as to why we haven't seen more data from Wayne County yet. And I just spoke with the Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson, and we believe we have the answer here specifically. And she said the reason is that Wayne County, in part, given all the scrutiny in this county as it impacts the outcome of the election in the state, is not reporting partial results. It's waiting until it has either all or the vast majority of those results in before it, in effect, gives that batch and makes it public. And I just want to highlight one point that's going to happen in the next hour, perhaps even the next few minutes. A nondescript U-Haul van is going to drive in one of these doors behind me here with the last remaining outstanding absentee ballots in Detroit, part of Wayne County, about 4,000 we expect. That's the final batch, not just, we are told, of absentee ballots outstanding, but the final outstanding votes in Detroit, a part of Wayne County. So when that truck comes through the door, they begin to tabulate those. That gets us to the point where they're going to have, in effect, all the votes they need to count and get to that point where they'll be ready to report those final figures. We were told it could be in the next few minutes. We'll be watching. We'll report back when it happens. Yeah, that could be the point when you get that big batch reported publicly.
All right, Jim Sciutto in Detroit, Wayne County. And you were noting that we don't have Wayne County to the granular level, that we can't see Dearborn and other places where there were a lot of uncommitted votes during the Democratic primary. But just to remind our viewers, during the Democratic primaries, as a protest of President Biden's support for the Netanyahu government of Israel and its war on Hamas in Gaza, 100,000 Democrats voted uncommitted, as presumably most of them as a protest vote against Biden for that issue.
Yes, absolutely. And most of them were located here in Wayne County. Again, progressive city, but also Hamtramck and Dearborn, just to the north and to the west. Large pockets of Arab American communities there that are very angry at the White House. And then the next one, you come out here again. This is Washington County, where I've been 4 times, maybe 5 times, no 4. In this election, you go to the University of Michigan, talk to people out there, and again, we're at 71% right now, so the numbers can change. But she's at 66. This is Ann Arbor, University of Michigan. Again, with a big college campus, it tends to be a very liberal pocket, progressive pocket. You're saying, wow, 65, 66, you round up, that's great.
Oh my God.
73%. And the math, 157,000, 103. Well, again, we got to come in, and maybe the percentages change as well. Maybe all the votes that are out are from the campus, and and it juices up the number a little bit. But if you're looking at that now, you're underperforming the President of the United States, and Donald Trump's at 32%, at 26%. That's I mean, if that gap holds, and if his improvement like that holds, I'm sorry, go ahead. That's a big deal.
Well, I was just going to say, one of the things you hear from the Arab American and Muslim American community in places like Michigan is not that they were going to vote for Donald Trump, but they either were not going to vote, or they were going to vote for Jill Stein or Cornel West. I'm not sure Cornel West is on the ballot in Michigan, but I mean, these numbers don't add up to 100 here. So I'm guessing that there is a better than, my guess would be there's going to be a better than average showing for Jill Stein in
Right, and she worked it hard. She was out there quite a bit. Every trip I was out there, you saw activity, either she was in the state or had just been in the state.
Yeah. So just to explain it. Now, one of the other things I heard of people talking about Michigan is everybody in the media, all you talk about is the Arab American, Muslim American vote, but really the issue in terms of a big sizable, bigger chunk of votes is white working class voters, union voters, because the Trump campaign ran ads slamming Harris's position on electric vehicles, EVs, and that is actually going to be more significant. Ultimately, that was, this is just their projection, than the Arab American Muslim American vote. Is there any way we can gauge how correlation did compared to Biden when it comes to white, non-college educated union voters?
David would have the exit polls. We could look at union households. That's a question on the exit polls. I can show you some counties where we were. 3 times I went out there to talk to union auto workers. And I want to get this up front. There are a lot of manufacturing jobs in the United States today than at any point during the Trump presidency. I repeat, there are more auto manufacturing jobs in the United States today than at any point in the Trump presidency. However, the EV debate is a debate. Stellantis just laid off 1,100 people, right? And in part because they say they have electric vehicles sitting on the lot. The union says that's BS. It's corporate greed. They're not keeping their word. But this is a conversation. Are they going too fast? At a minimum, are they going too fast? There are some auto workers who say, why are you forcing this on us? There are others saying the infrastructure is not in place. Really, people aren't ready for it. Why are you going so fast? So one of the places you'll find that is right here in county. We met Joseph Knowles, just laid off from Stellantis, a union auto worker. No one in his family had ever voted Republican for president. He voted for Donald Trump. Everybody in his family was mad at him. This is where you find it right here. Bill Govier is another Ford worker in Macomb County who wanted to vote for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Back Trump. Bill Govier said, that's great. I love them both. And he voted for Trump a 3rd time. So some of them have been in Trump's camp, like a Bill Govier. But Joe Knowles is a Democrat all his life, right? So there, Macomb County, we got a long way to go here. 36%. At 58, when you round Trump at 53, right there. So again, we'll see if that sustains itself.
Yeah.
And the Biden number at 45, the Harris number at 50. If that's the number at the end, then
Yeah.
very hard.
Well, there you go. And you can see why, not all of that change is from that one issue or that one demographic I described, but that is quite significant if it holds. So let's go to Pamela Brown. The voting desk. Let's jump to Wisconsin if we could, because Pamela wants to talk about Milwaukee. Pamela.
Yeah. Officials there, Milwaukee County as well as the city. Let's look at Milwaukee County right now. A large portion of the vote that remains is from Milwaukee City itself. This is the largest county. This is the largest city in Wisconsin. According to a source in Milwaukee County, 9 out of 19 municipalities are completely reported. And the source also says that the county clerk there expects all results from Milwaukee County to be reported between 2 and 4 p.m. tonight. These results coming in overnight there from Milwaukee County. That is the expectation. Now, let's dive in here to the Milwaukee City. I just spoke to an official there. Milwaukee City has 27,724 mail-in ballots left to be counted so far. In addition, officials are still waiting for results from 4 wards still, and those would be the day of votes. So from election day. So there's still quite a bit to go to count tonight there in Milwaukee City. For context, 69% went for Biden in 2020. And as I mentioned, this is the largest county in Wisconsin. So we're keeping a close eye on this.
All right, Pamela, thanks so much. Let's take a look at Wisconsin as long as Pamela drove us here.
So a critical point she makes, 4 wards in the city of Milwaukee still have not reported their election day votes. And again, anecdotally, just texting people out in the state, they said turnout is good. They weren't saying great or gangbusters, they're saying good. So you wait. But again, so we're waiting for the city. This is Milwaukee plus the suburbs around it. The county is what you see here. But he's at 66% and Joe Biden's at 69%. So when those city of Milwaukee votes come in, that not only does that percentage need to move, but that math needs to change quite significantly if you're trying to make up that 96,000. That's better than 150,000. Right? We always say politics can be very complicated. Sometimes it comes down to basic arithmetic. Are there enough votes still out there to overcome a 96 vote lead? And so if Pam says 4 big wards are still out in Milwaukee City, there's a little bit more in Milwaukee County. Right? Again, you're getting to the point where you're drawing to an inside straight flush, but maybe. So another Democratic again. Eau Claire is getting 55% of the vote. I just want to compare that. That's okay. A little better rate. but it's just not a ton of people there. And you come down on La Crosse, you're looking at the blue areas, which is there anything, not much left, right? It's not a huge swing anyway, so even if you pick up some votes, you're not picking up a ton there. So if you look at this map now, just want to check what was our percentage here, 95% in Dane County, and these other blue counties around it, I'll hit them for you. See, they're pretty small population-wise. They're not tiny, but again, you're at 95% Rock County, 95% Greene County, 92 County. That one is a little bit smaller. So again, the map's getting really hard if you're trying to figure out can Harris win back in Wisconsin. And I would say simply that it comes down to that and those Milwaukee Creeks that are better be gangbusters.
May I do a personal prerogative, Maxie, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania? We haven't checked in there in a while, and that's obviously a place near and dear to my heart. And I have questions about it. One of them is Allentown, which is blue right now. Allentown, the city is 54% Latino, 54% and 50%, and Pennsylvania, as we've discussed, has the third largest England, behind only New York and Los Angeles. I mean, New York and Florida. So my question is, how is she doing in this Latino area compared to Joe Biden 4 years ago?
Again, cannot go granular just into the city of Allentown.
Right.
You can look at Lehigh County here, right? And I can already tell you, 51 to 48, if you're the Trump campaign, sure, you'd like to win it. But you're looking at 48% in Lehigh County, and you're feeling pretty good because you were 46 last time, right? And again, within a battleground state, you're thinking margins within the margins, the battlegrounds within the battleground. So, Joe Biden at 53, 98,000 votes. The vice president at 50% with 93,000 votes. Now, we're not completely done there, but that 5,000 votes makes a big difference. It just does, right? So and that's there, right? So then you come out here and you come up, let's just move on up, right? Carbon County, look at this, Trump getting 73% of the vote. He's improved. That's one of the places he's overperformed himself. And then you move up here, this is Lackawanna County, Scranton, Pennsylvania, Joe Biden's hometown. It's a tough competitive blue collar area, but 51 to 48 now, 54 to 45.
And if that movement of 4% can be the whole thing.
It's a couple thousand votes here, it's a couple thousand votes there. I want to show you
By the
something
way,
else.
can I just point out?
Erie has now flipped.
Erie, which has always voted with the presidential victor in Pennsylvania and nationally, is now with.
Let's flip and let's see where the turn is there. And it's one of the 25, they're at 95%. It's very close, but it's always very close. So you see Erie County, very close there. I just want to state, Northampton County, you're on the, your Buffalo, New York border, and here's New Jersey here. You're 47 there, not done yet, but the two multi-pivot counties, twice for Obama, then for Trump, then for Biden. At the moment, they're going for Trump. I just want to show one more thing we haven't shown tonight. I just want to bring this up and bring this up here. I'll figure this out eventually. I promise you. I just have too many gizmos. Just want to come in here. Come on. Do this. So let's start nationally. Everyone's been talking all night long about the headwinds. There'll be a lot of questions asked about the second effect. This is not a good environment for any incumbent. Kamala Harris is the incumbent vice president. What this shows you is not votes. This shows you the darker the county, the more that county has been hit by inflation. Meaning, the darker the county, the more cost of living, energy prices, gas prices, housing prices in a lot of places have outpaced wage increases. Right? Try to find me.